Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Deku had demon quirk part 1. If you guys enjoy this what if and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know before I start. Please do support for more awesome content and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with your friends and check out the description in my playlist. The author of the story by 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗄 from fanfiction.net. So let's start the video. 𝗵𝗃𝗄 𝗂𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗁. Why not? It's not like I have anything better to do, I muttered, which got the entire class's attention, and they then started to laugh. Ha! 𝗵𝗃𝗄. Good grades aren't enough for you to make it in. Everyone sneered. What a drag. Asterisk boom. Asterisk an explosion was a few inches from my face. Come on Deku. 𝗵𝗃𝗄 yelled, everyone at least has a power. You go down in one hit. You can't possibly make it to you, 𝗵𝗃𝗄 yelled. Just ignore him Izuku, he won't hit you in the classroom. Besides, they don't know the truth, and for good reason. I just got up from my seat. Hey teacher. I finished all the homework for this week, permission to leave. I asked. You can't just leave just make sure you study for the test. The teacher said. Got it, see you tomorrow. I said before leaving. It was a deal between the principal and I. See, school makes it really strong for me to give it my all. I brought this up to the principal. He said that so long I finish the homework and get perfect scores on the tests, practice or otherwise, I can come and go whenever I feel like it. Is it bad? Sure. Has the school done worse? Far worse. It surprises me this school is still running with the shady practices it runs, but hey, not my place to question. I made it home. Mom was shocked to see me home, but paid it no mind. She knows my deal with the principal, and she did spark a few questions, but the principal reassured her, saying I'm the top student, the valedictorian practically. He said that me leaving the class to head home will be a stress relief. She was hesitant, but agreed. Now I take up a laid-back job at the nearby convenience store to help Mom with rent and the bills. Heck, she's the reason why I haven't given up completely yet. So of course I would help her out whenever I can. Anyway, as you heard, I go down with one hit. My quirk is what's responsible. See, I like to call it glass cannon. It basically makes my speed and strength immeasurable. However, like all glass cannons, my vitality is basically non-existent. One strong hit, and I'm done. However, it wasn't always like that. See, most RPGs call HP health points. Makes sense because it's your health points. However, my vitality is hope points. Because I'm not unhealthy by any means. In fact, I work out every day to maintain my power. However, I'm slowly losing any hope I once had. Corny and cliché, I know, but it's true. Rent skyrocketing, taxes also shooting up, and to top it all off, my dirtbag of a father left us all alone. So basically, even with my job, my mom's job, and the sorry excuse for alimony checks my dad sends, we barely scrap by in the money department, but we're teetering over the edge here. Should taxes rise again or I get fired, then we're pretty much done. But still, Mom takes these rises with a smile. The last thing she wants is to worry me more, not that I'm constantly worrying. Like I said before, she's the reason why I haven't completely given up hope. I don't know what I would do if I lose her. Probably go on a berserk rampage. Nah, I'm kidding. Probably. Need help? I asked as I walked over to her. She shook her head. No dear. You're home early, she said. I shrugged. I finished this week's homework. The teacher said I could leave so long I study for the test, not that I need to really. I said before glancing to the wall clock, 30 minutes until work, besides the students are rude. I said. How so? She asked. I made an offhanded comment that I wanted to go to you. Because there was nothing better to do. Granted, I could have said something mellow, but I always speak my mind. Basically, they laughed at my face and said grades aren't enough. I said. They don't know about your power. Mom said. They know about the drawbacks only. I muttered. She set the pan aside before hugging me. You'll get in guaranteed, and if you go pro you can buy me a decent house. She quipped. I laughed and hugged her back. That's the plan at least. I said, you deserve nothing less than the best for dealing with me. I ate some food before heading off to work. Boring but whatever pays the bills. Then the manager walked up to me. Hey kid, shouldn't you be in school? She asked. I'm too far ahead, the school doesn't care if I'm there or not. So long I ace their tests, and show up for role to make them look good they could care less. I answered honestly. That's pretty scummy. She said. Yeah well, that means I get to work more hours. I said as a customer entered the establishment. I helped him out before continuing my conversation with the manager. So where you going after graduation? She asked. I answered. The national school. Are you sure? She asked. If it would make me a hero faster and help out mom then I'll go. I said simply, besides it's not strong to get in, just pass the test and do their pointless practical. They still do the robot thing, they basically prefer combat-oriented quirks, and even so they passed a stipulation a decade back to those who don't have combat quirk just to not get lawsuits. I said. She was silent before shrugging. Well, if anyone could do all of that is you. She said, keep up the good work and that bow dash. Asterisk boom. Asterisk I looked out the window to see a building on fire, then more buildings got set on fire. As explosions were firing out of a sludge villain but the blasts hit the buildings. Claire stay here Kay, I said as I walked towards the door. Be safe. She called out worried for my safety. I will. I followed the carnage, and saw a bunch of heroes surrounding the slime villain from before. Why aren't they doing anything? It's 4 against 1 they can surely wait, 𝗵𝗃𝗲's inside the villain. I knew his big mouth would be the death of him guess I have to save him. Everyone sta, hey kid what are you? 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗁 yelled out, but I ignored him. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁. What are you doing kid? Step away. The slime villain yelled as he directed a blast at me. I moved to the side and continued walking. Once I was an inch away from him I tensed my finger and flicked at the slime villain. He splattered all over the walls. As an unconscious 𝗵𝗃𝗲 laid on the ground. Man what a total drag. I muttered as I lifted 𝗵𝗃𝗲 and handed him to the heroes. Take him to the hospital, get some air in him. I said before walking away. Hey kid, 𝗳𝗵𝗃𝗁 called out. I turned to face him. Who are you? That doesn't concern you. I said, but I'd appreciate it if you bought something from the 7-Eleven down the street. Money is scarce at my home and I need the bonus from my boss. I said before turning back around, I'd appreciate it even more if this didn't get out. The media and all that. I walked away and headed back to the 7-Eleven I worked at. I reassured Claire that I handled the situation and let the heroes handle the fire and that I may or may not have asked the heroes to come and buy stuff. She said she was proud of the progress I've made. Soon my 8-hour shift is up and I headed home. It was 6 p.m. and I was pretty certain mom was cooking I am here. All Might yelled as he rushed in front of me. All Might. What are you doing here? I asked. I am here. To tell you that you handled that situation with the slime villain really well young man. He exclaimed. Yeah, great. Did any of that get leaked to the news? Because we can say you did it. I said, not a big fan of the media, there's such a pain in my everything. He laughed and patted my shoulder. I agree, but that's not what I came here to talk to you. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗃. All Might said as he coughed up BLD and transformed into a skinny version of himself. Do you need to go to the hospital or something? I asked. It's fine, happens all the time. He muttered as he explained the circumstances of why he suddenly lost 99% of his body mass while wiping the BLD off of his face. You seem pretty nonchalant about this. Everyone has a weakness. No and ifs or buts about it. I muttered, for example, I may be powerful and fast, but I go down in one hit. I said, so if an enemy lands an attack as heck about as strong as a teenager with anger problems I go down. I said. Yeesh, that's a harsh weakness. All Might muttered, but I waved it off. A weakness is as harsh as you make it out to be. I said, so what did you need? I asked. Ah yes, I would like to discuss something with you. All Might said before my mom sent me a text. Mom, Izuku, are you out yet? Me, yeah, I'm right outside near the grocery store, need me to pick up something for dinner. Mom, yes, pick up some asparagus and fish. Me, okay, I'm cooking tonight, don't even think about lifting a finger. Care to come in for dinner? I offered, just say you're an advisor to you, I said. I couldn't. All Might muttered. Well then looks like your talk is going to have to wait then, because I'm cooking tonight. I said, so it's either you wait till tomorrow, or come talk to me after dinner. Well alright then. All Might said. All Might and I entered the grocery store. I picked up a filleted tilapia, it's Mom's favorite, and fresh asparagus. You can tell based on the tip of the asparagus, if the stem is firm and the spear either bright green or violet tinged and they're compact together, it's fresh. Size and thickness doesn't really mean anything aside from its age. All Might paid for the groceries and hey, I wasn't going to complain over free dinner. Once we made it home I told Mom I had a guest. Who is this Izuku? Mom asked looking at All Might, he took it upon himself to introduce himself. I'm an advisor at you. Hey, my name is Toshinori Yagi. He greeted. Well welcome, will you be staying for dinner? She asked. If you would have me. He said. We have enough for him, so it's fine. I said as I prepared the stove tops for the asparagus and the fish. Dinner was finished and I set the table for the three of us. Mom decided to spark some small talk. So, how did you meet Izuku? She asked. He came to school, one of the few days I stayed for the duration, to talk about you. He remembered me and found me while I was leaving work. I answered. You don't stay in school? All Might asked. The school allows me to leave when I want. My grades are top-notch and my test scores are the top of the class. I don't really learn anything there that I haven't learned in the past on my own time. So I just leave. I answered. The school doesn't care. All Might asked. Not really. So long I pass the tests and show up for attendance, they don't care if I stay or not. Works for me, because I don't pretty much every student there. I said, so I have a job to help out Mom. I said as I chewed on my steaming piece of fish perfectly cooked. Good job me. So why do you want to go to you, All Might asked. Simple, because most top heroes went to you, I said, I want to be a hero to buy my mom a house and have her live in comfort for the rest of her days. I said. All Might seemed satisfied by that answer. We continued eating our dinner. Mom was always a curious one, as she was asking All Might a bunch of questions about you, questions like, what's you alike? What do they do there? And will I be safe? All Might answered the question to the best of his ability. I should have said he was my boss at 7-11. Oh well, he's doing well for himself. Dinner was pretty much over and Mom offered to wash the dishes while I led All Might out of the apartment. Now is a good time to ask, so what did you need? I asked. Oh that, All Might said, well, I thought you were pretty calm and collected when facing a villain attack, not to mention brave enough to walk face first into danger to save that boy. All Might said. He was destroying the shop, I did what anyone would do. I said. That's exactly my point, you did what everyone else would do, but didn't do. All Might said, you showed more courage in a few minutes than people would in a lifetime. That's why I want you to be my successor. Say that again. I asked. Allow me to explain. He said as he held out his hand, the name of my quirk is One for All. It's a crystalline network quirk, getting stronger as it's passed down. I'm currently the 8th holder of One for All, and my time of being the symbol of peace is slowly running out. He said, with my injury and my time limit, I need to find a new successor and fast. So that's why I want you to be him. The next symbol of peace. Oh wow, sorry it's a little too much for me to handle right now. Can I call you with my decision tomorrow or something? I asked. Oh, of course. He said as he scribbled me his number, thanks for the food, now I must be going now. He said as he left. Am I even worthy of such a title? Sure, I wouldn't deny that I'm powerful but with a harsh weakness, but still. One for all. Symbol of peace. I need to think about this. You go down in one hit. You can't protect anyone, even your mother. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗲. Gah ha ha. Nightmares, just nightmares. It's just a dream, it's just a dream. I got out of bed to make sure mom's alright. I walked down the hall and slowly opened the door. She's still asleep and unharmed. Thank goodness. Once I exited the room and returned to my bedroom, the images and words of my nightmare returned. I couldn't protect her. My power isn't enough. I looked at my nightstand and grabbed my charging phone. I texted only 2 words to 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍. I accept. To my surprise, he started texting right back. TY, may I ask why? Not to mention why you're telling me this at 3 in the morning. Nightmares. I decided to be honest with him since he's going to be teaching me how to use one for all. In my nightmare I couldn't protect my mom, even with my power. I'm well aware that it's just a dream and not reality. But I can't risk that. Sorry if it's a selfish reason. 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍 took a little bit to respond back. TY, protecting your family is an admirable goal to have. However, do keep in mind that a hero protects everyone. I'm well aware of that fact. But mom has priority. TY, very well, meet me at the beach at 7 a.m. And try to sleep well. I'll try. Thanks 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍. I set the phone aside and laid in my bed hoping the nightmares won't come for a second round. Thankfully they didn't. Even more thankfully, it's Sunday so I have the weekend, not that I would have gone to school aside from the attendance. So I met 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍 at the former beach-turned-dump. 𝗃𝗏𝗵𝗃𝗍 Municipal Beach Park. So, why are we here? I asked. Simple. 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍 in his skinny form said, I need to see what I'm working with. He said. I took that as a hint to take off my shirt and leaving myself in my boxers. He gave my body a once-over before nodding, well, you are built up enough so you can handle my power without exploding. However, you still need to train your body. He said as put my clothes back on, that's why, he muttered as he transformed into 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍, we're going to clean up this entire beach. 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍 yelled. The entire beach. Doesn't seem too strong. I said looking around. Without your quirk. 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍 emphasized. Got a little harder but still possible. I said as I cracked my knuckles and got to work. And so began my 10 months of self-inflicted hell. I could have used a small portion of my power to do this, but that would make it too easy and as such I wouldn't gain anything from this. So I'm doing this in my base power. Soon, 9.5 months worth of back pain, aching muscles, lack of sleep, and a few instances of vomiting, I cleaned the whole beach. Though I must say, the food in 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍 𝗵𝗃𝗍𝗔 American Dream Plan was really good and cheap too. Aside from cleaning the beach, as we holy stinking super CRP. 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗍 yelled as he saw the outcome of my hard work, the beach is 100% spotless and if anyone decides to litter again, there will be consequences. I'm impressed, young man, I expected this to take 10 months but you exceeded my expectations. He said before looking at me, you're looking to be a fine vessel now. Better than 9.5 months ago. He said with a smile before plucking a follicle of his hair, I'll admit I was worried, young man. Those already blessed with great power usually quit after a few weeks of strong training. But you exceeded those expectations above and beyond, you've earned this. I smiled and reached out, eat this, I stopped reaching, say that again. To inherit my power you need to digest some of my 𝗳𝗏𝗏𝗏. That's how it works. He said. That sounds like info you should say at the beginning. I yelled, but took the hair anyway. Did you at least wash your hair? I asked. I washed it before I came here. He said. I groaned before grabbing the hair, but doubt starts to fester. Before I eat this, I have a question. I said. What is it, young 𝗵𝗃? 𝗵𝗃 asked. You said that I am a worthy successor to 𝗵𝗃, and I'm flattered, but what if I'm not worthy at all? What if I fail? I asked. Young 𝗵𝗃, let me tell you something. There is a difference between being lucky and deserving. One's an accident, another a reward. You may have a powerful quirk, but it was through your hard work and drive to protect your mother that confirmed you are a worthy successor. He said, but, allow me to offer you some advice. Whenever you're scared or nervous about a fight, or anything for that matter, just try and deal with it by smiling. He said with a bellows laugh. Smile, huh? Well, if he believes in me that much, I took the hair and struggled to swallow it, but eventually it went down. So, 𝗵𝗃 will take a few hours for it to be transferred to you. 𝗵𝗃 said. I nodded before taking a seat on the beach. Might as well take a little load off before it comes. A few hours later, I felt something bubbling inside me. That bubbling sensation turned into power. As red sparkling cracks appeared throughout my body, it felt intense. Is this 𝗵𝗃? I asked. Yes, it is. 𝗵𝗃 said with a proud smile. Now that the warm-up is out of the way, let's get to the real training. Next came 2 more weeks of even more hell. Apparently I broke my arm from using 𝗵𝗃, which explained why I woke up in a hospital bed. Yeah, I did completely forget about my one hit and I'm out weakness. 𝗵𝗃 apologized for his forgetfulness and said we could take 𝗵𝗃 training slow and do hand-to-hand. Which I prefer, really. Helps build my speed and evasiveness. And soon, the 𝗬𝗍 entrance exams are upon us. 𝗵𝗃 drove me to 𝗬𝗍, and I began heading towards the examination hall. Then, like a complete moron, I tripped over myself and began hurtling towards the ground. Man, what a waste of po. Wait, why hasn't the ground hit my face yet? Ha! Are you okay? A bubbly voice asked. I turned to see a brown-haired girl with rosy cheeks touching my backpack. Well, considering I almost ate SHT and died pretty good. She laughed at my chosen silence, before she set me on my feet. I stopped you with my quirk. I'm sorry I didn't ask first. But I figured you wouldn't mind me catching you. She said. Yeah, or else I would have been out of commission right before the test and 𝗵𝗃 would never let me hear the end of it. Well, gotta go, see you inside. She yelled as she ran off. I nodded and headed inside, this time making sure I actually walked properly, and I headed inside the exam hall. The written exam was easy, no need to pad out that explanation. However, the biggest part of the test is the practical. It's basically a beat 'em up video game. Find robot villains, take them out. The higher the points, the more powerful the robot. There's also a 0-pointer robot that's mainly an obstacle we're supposed to avoid at all cost. Borin, hey you with the long hair. A blue-haired student yelled, pointing at me. Right, forgot I let my hair grow out because getting a haircut is a waste of money. You've been muttering this whole time, it's distracting. If this is some sort of game to you, then please leave immediately. He yelled. Just ignore him, Izuku, he'll be eating those words like a full-course meal. After the explanation, we were led outside the examination area. Everyone is decked out in gear and amping themselves up. Oh wait, it's that girl from before. I guess I should thank her for not letting me FA. Why are you here? Hoping to interfere? The same boy as before asked. I'm this close to snapping, so take your hand off my shoulder. I muttered. He pulled away. How dare you? A hero shouldn't act this way. Stop talking. I said, waving him off. Sorry, brown-haired girl, I'll thank you later. I'm in a bad mood right now. Begin. Present, Mike yelled. I let everyone run ahead of me, then I walked behind them. I'll show them what I can do. As I separate from the main pack and I saw a gaggle of 1-pointers, I rushed over and punched them once, instantly destroying them. That's 5 points right now. I turned around to see a group of 3-pointers on the wall of the building. I flicked my finger at them and the shockwave destroyed them all. That's 20 points total. 24, 30. 45, 53. I'm destroying more and more robots, earning more and more points. I'm sitting pretty on my 53 points. I could take it 𝗳𝗵𝗃. I turned towards the direction of the noise, a gigantic 0-pointer. The dust and debris was flying around as it was moving. A bunch of students ran away from it. I should run to. Ow. A voice yelped in agony. I turned to see it's her. The girl from before, her leg is underneath the debris from the robot. I began walking towards her, but I felt a hand on my shoulder. What are you doing? It's the same guy from before. What do you think? I'm going to return a favor. I said. Are you crazy? That thing will destroy you. Besides, she's not in any 𝗳𝗏. Well, news flash. I don't give a SHT, I said as I pulled my shoulder away. This is what separates the heroes from the wannabes. I said as I rushed towards the girl, not caring if I showed my speed or not. Once I was there, I kicked the debris off of her. Are you okay? I asked. And my ankle is twisted. She muttered. I looked up to see the 0-pointer coming closer. I set her aside. I'll be right back. I said. Are you crazy? She yelled. I smirked at her. Crazy is an understatement. I rushed towards the 0-pointer. Once it locked onto me, I leapt towards its chest and punched it with all my might. I can't use one for all, so I'll have to use the power of glass cannon. I pierced through the chest and was inside the robot. Once inside, I wreaked havoc on its internal wiring, punching, pulling, everything, and once it fell onto the ground, I climbed out. I walked over to the girl and picked her up. I'm going to need like 3 bottles of shampoo. I muttered. How did you do that? She asked. Time's up. Present Mike asked. Probably for the best I don't say. I said, but I will say that we're even. She laughed. Yeah, I guess we are. She said. Hey you. A blonde-haired boy said, how many points do you have? 10, couldn't really find any. I lied. I hate being in the spotlight, it's such a drag. A lot of breaths of relief flooded the area. Maybe lying and getting their hopes up wasn't a good idea now that I think about it. Very nice, good work all around. You're heroes in my eyes, every one of you. An old woman who I recognize from the time I was in a hospital bed, recovery girl, said, here, reward yourselves. Have some gummies. She said, handing another examinee gummy bears. She walked towards me. Hey recovery girl. I greeted. You know her? She asked. Best not to question things. I said as I set her down so recovery girl can heal her with her bizarre healing method of, they're all better. Recovery girl said as the girl stood up. Welp, guess I should go ho, thanks for the save. She said with a smile. I smiled back at her, don't worry about it. Now I need to shower. I muttered. Once I got home, my mom ran up to me, then ran back saying I smell like a mechanic's shop. I laughed and told her I took out a giant robot from the inside. She was impressed but still wanted me to shower. Like I said, I went through 3 bottles of shampoo to get all the oil out of my hair. Maybe a haircut will be a good idea, nah, too much work. Once I dried my hair and put on a decent set of clothes, I stepped out and told my mom about the exam. You lied about your points? She asked. I probably won't see them ever again, so it's fine. I said, besides the examiners know my score. That's all that matters. And you seem to ignore the fact that I saved a girl. Well, I expected that of you. If you just ran away from her, then I would be disappointed. She said. She probably would have too. Soon a week went by, and my test results came in. I ripped open the note and saw a hologram disc fall out. It showed All Might. 𝗵𝗃, I am here as a projection now. He yelled out. Yes, I can see that. I know it's been a while, but with great power comes a great amount of paperwork. He laughed before coughing. My apologies, young man. The truth is, I didn't come to this city just to fight villains. You're looking at the newest you. A faculty member. He said before the cameraman gestured all might to him. Huh. Yes, what's the matter? Who's showboating? Oh, sorry. I'll wrap it up, but I have to show him something first. Wait. I have to do how many of these things? He asked before sighing in discontent. Right. So, moving on. He said with a cough, you passed the written exam with flying colors, young man. Not a single point missed. Yeah, I kinda expected that. Not to mention your practical score is the highest among all of the students. All Might said. Really? I only got 53. Sure, that's a lot, don't get me wrong. But I'd expect 𝗵𝘃𝗧𝗏 to have at least 80. While you weren't the highest in terms of villains points, there are other factors involved. All Might said, which got my attention, but before we get to that, I have another surprise. Here. Look. A short clip for your viewing pleasure. All Might said as a clip started playing. It was that girl from before. She said that I sacrificed the test for her, only scoring 10 points, and she wanted to give her points to me. 𝗵𝘃𝗏 then said that I didn't have 10 villain points, but 53. She looked shocked and asked why did I lie about that. 𝗵𝘃𝗏 then told her to ask me herself when we see each other at you. Wait, did 𝗵𝘃𝗏 just say she passed before the results arrived? Well, she didn't seem to catch that part, so it's all good. You have a powerful quirk, that much is for certain. But it's your actions that inspire others. And that's why I am here. You see, the practical exam was not graded on combat alone. 𝗵𝘃𝗏 then said that I didn't have 10 villain points, but 53. She looked shocked and asked why did I lie about that. 𝗵𝘃𝗏 then told her to ask me herself when we see each other at 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗟𝗘. How could a hero course reject someone who is committed to saving others, no matter the consequences to himself? After all, that is what makes a hero. And that's what my alma mater is all about. Training those who would risk their lives for the greater good. So we have hero points. He exclaimed. A panel of judges watch and they award points for heroic acts beyond just fighting villains. 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗏, 60 hero points. 𝗳𝗿𝗧𝗛𝗌 45 hero points. All Might said before turning back to face me, you both passed the exam, and you scored the highest point value in this year's batch examinees. He said before extending his hand out to me, welcome, 𝗧𝗑𝗏. You have made it. You are now a part of the Hero Academia. I made it, I passed the exam. Once the projection ended, I told my mom. She screamed before hugging me, saying how proud of me she was. I smiled and hugged her back. I'm doing all of this for her. Like heck, I'm going to fail now. I woke up way earlier than I was meant to. Mom had an early shift at her new job, so I woke up once she left. I showered, changed, and ate a small breakfast. However, I saw a note on the table. 𝗧𝗑𝗏, I'm heading out for my new job. However, since you won't get a haircut, at the very least tie it back. Here, use this. The note said, on the counter I saw a scrunchie, that old fad from the past century. I don't understand why it hasn't came back. Scrunchies are way more comfortable than hair ties. I tied back my hair and ate my food, then I headed down to the train station to board my train to 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗟𝗓. Once I got to my stop, I made it to 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗟𝗓. 30 minutes before the first class, I might as well read the guidelines and my schedule. Homeroom first, then mathematics, modern literature, English, blah blah blah. The only sad part is that I'm not allowed to leave class early. Oh well, maybe these students will be likable enough so I would actually want to stay. Anyway, time for the guidelines. Oh heck no. Slam, what do you mean I can't have a job? I yelled at the 𝗵𝘃𝗏 thing, that is our principal. Ah, Mr. 𝗵𝘃𝗏, have a seat. The principal said, as I took a seat. Man, these seats are comfortable. No. I'm supposed to be angry. So we expect students to be 100% invested in their hero training and school work. A job would act as an unnecessary distraction. Unnecessary. I exclaimed, rent is rising, I need a job so that mom and I could pay for 𝗳𝗵𝗃 𝗵𝘃𝗃, a familiar voice. Wait a minute. Mom? I asked, turning around to see her carrying a cup of coffee. As you can see, 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃, I gave your mom a job here so she can pay the rent on her own, a well-paying one I might add. So that way you can focus on your studies. He said with a smile. I see. I muttered, well, this is awkward, sorry about that. It's not a problem. Now run along to class now. He said as the first bell rang. Yeah, I kinda got lost on the way here. Why yes sir. I said before walking out of that awkward atmosphere. Well, today is already going great. Way to go me. Well, surely class will make it a little better. I should learn to keep my big mouth shut. I'm from 𝗵𝗲 Private Academy, my name is 𝗤𝗵𝗃𝗲 the blue-haired kid, Ida said. 𝗵𝗲. A stuck-up elitist then. I should blow you to bits. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 said, taking to Ida. Great, the two people I didn't want in my class. Just ignore them. 𝗧𝗑𝗍. 1820 is still an A, blow me to bits. How awful. Do you really longing to be a hero? He asked before turning to me. Oh no, he's coming this way. I'm from 𝗵𝗲 I heard. I said, cutting him off. No, calm down 𝗧𝗑𝗍, it was the test, the atmosphere was different, give him a chance. I'm 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗲, pleased to meet you. I said before looking at the class who was looking at me. You know it's impolite to stare. They caught the hint and looked at their desks. Oh, that long hair. Plain-looking boy. The brown-haired girl, 𝗬𝗧𝗏, said. I'll ignore that comment. You made it in. Like Mike said you would. She said, that attack you did on that robot was awesome. You dove into him and blew him up from the inside like that movie. I nodded at her rambling. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know what movie she was talking about. If you're here to socialize, then get out. A voice behind 𝗬𝗧𝗏 said, a hobo teacher, I have truly seen it all. He introduced himself as 𝗧𝗍𝗪 Aizawa while he unzipped his sleeping bag. He then told us to put on our gym uniforms and head outside. Once we made it outside, we were told we were doing a Quirk assessment test. It's based on the physical tests we did in junior high. Softball throw, standing long jump, 50-meter dash, endurance running, grip strength, side-to-side stepping, upper body test, and long-distance running. The only exception is that we get to use our quirks. Now, to demonstrate the one with the highest score in the entrance exam, step up. Mr. Aizawa said, as 𝗵𝗃𝗲 stepped up, but Mr. Aizawa shook his head. I was talking to him. He said, pointing at me, dang, I was hoping to not get called out. Deku? 𝗵𝗃𝗲 asked. How could you throw a softball in junior high? Mr. Aizawa asked. 40 meters. I lied. Well, do it with your quirk. He said, tossing the ball at me. I gripped the ball and tossed it weakly. Mr. Aizawa showed his phone. 41 meters. Hey, improvement. I cheered, but he glared at me. Seems you aren't going to take this seriously. Fine then. Mr. Aizawa said, the person in last place gets expelled from this school. We don't have time for those who won't take this seriously. He said. I felt everyone glare at me. Fine, I huffed as I pulled back and launched the ball with 1/10 of my full power. The ball sailed about 500 meters. That's better. Now then. Let us continue. Mr. Aizawa said. Soon the other tests went along, and I still only used a fraction of my power, and in turn I earned 8th place and was safe. Then Mr. Aizawa came along and said he was lying about the whole explosion thing, calls it motivation to get us to try harder. His faux smile fell and his not caring attitude, I know too much, returned. He told us to pick up the syllabus and walked away. Man, tests are such a pain. But at least they're over now. Soon the other classes went along, and class was over. Now I have to quit my job because of the rule. I headed to the 7-Eleven by my house and broke the news to Claire. Oh, I see, well, makes sense considering it's an elite school. Claire said before handing me a stack of yen. Here, today was payday anyway, the bonus is there too. She said. Thanks, Claire. I said with a smile. I'm going to miss this place even if it's kinda boring here. I headed back home and handed my check to Mom. I got my last payment today, with a bonus. I said. She smiled but pushed it back to me. You keep it, buy yourself something nice. She said with a smile. We went back and forth for a while, before I caved and kept the money. I'll keep it in case everything goes to heck. When it inevitably goes to heck, it always does. So how was your first day? She asked while cooking. A pain. I muttered. We did a Quirk assessment test. I didn't want to show off, so I used 10%, but it was still pointless. I muttered, which caused her to laugh. I know how much you hate tests. Almost as much as you hate doing more than necessary. She commented, but it's there for the teacher to check everyone's skill levels. So brave it out, not everything in school is fun. She said. I know, I muttered, doesn't make it any less of a pain. You think everything is a pain. She said with a smile. Dinner will be ready in an hour, go do your homework. She said. Already did it. I said with a smirk, but I went into my room anyway. Hopefully class is more exciting tomorrow. I am here. Coming through the door like a hero. All Might yelled, rushing through the door. Everyone was awestruck by All Might's presence as he trotted awkwardly towards the center of class. Once he was there, he announced what we were doing. Hero Basic Training. The class that'll put you through all sorts of special training to mold you into heroes. He exclaimed before holding out a card. It said battle, no time to dally. Today's activity is this. Battle. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 yelled. Training, I muttered. Great, I have to use my power again. And for that, you need these. All Might yelled as panels slid out of the walls revealing cases with numbers on it. In accordance with the Quirk registry and the special request forms you filled out before being admitted, costumes. Everyone exclaimed. I smiled inwardly. Costumes, something I'm actually looking forward to. I grabbed my numbered suitcase and headed down to the locker room. I put on my costume and headed outside to face the looking eyes. Midoriya, what kind of hero costume is that? Ida asked. Yeah, it looks like regular clothes. A short guy with what looks like a diaper said. Designing a hero costume is a total drag, and my mom designed it. I said. She said that my costume should be just as lazy as I am. She knows me too well. I muttered. Really? 𝗬𝗧𝗔𝗍𝗔 asked. No, I'm lying. I said, my costume is taking a little while, we may or may not have forgot to turn it in before the deadline, so my costume has been backlogged. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 scoffed, typical. All Might coughed for our attention as he began to explain the practical via a script. You know what? He's a new teacher here, I'll let this slide. Basically, this activity is a basic deadly weapon premise. The villains have stashed a weapon somewhere in the building, and the heroes need to find it. The heroes win the day when they either touch the weapon, or capture the bad guys. The bad guys win if they protect the weapon for 15 straight minutes, or capture the good guys. After that, the teams are determined via a random lottery. Shouldn't the groups be paired based on skill type? Ida asked. No. I said simply, pros are usually placed into situations where they work with people they don't know anything about. This random variable system works for that regard. I said. I see. Ida said before bowing, pardon my interruption. After that, the pairs were decided. Group A consists of Mina Ishido and I. Group B, Tenya Ida and Masahiro Ojiro. Group C, Shoto Todoroki and Minoru Mineta. Group D, Kyuka Jairu and Momo Yaoyorozu. Group E, Ochako Uraraka and Katsuki 𝗵𝗃𝗲. I feel bad for her. Group F, Mizo Shoji and Koji Koda. Group G, Hanta and Denki Kaminari. Group H, Ijiro Kirishima and Tsuyu Azui. Group I, Rikido Sato and Yuga Aoyama. Group J, Fumikage Tokoyami and Toru Hagakure. As for which of the pairs are going first, it's well, look at that. Group A as villains versus Group C as heroes. Team A and C headed out towards a building. I got a good look at our opponent's ice, but it's only covering half his side. Interesting, and the short guy, no idea what he does, but I should still be wary of him. Ready to roll, partner? 𝗵𝗃 asked. Yeah, we should win, I muttered. The villains go in first. The timer starts in 5 minutes, when the heroes sneak in. The rest of us will watch in CCTV. All Might muttered. 𝗵𝗃. You two must adopt a villain mindset. This is a practical experience, don't hold back. All Might said while looking at me. He knows I held back during that QAT. Though I will stop you when things go too far, he said before giving us a thumbs up. Now get to your positions. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 and I are in the 𝗧𝗏 building next to the 𝗧𝗏 weapon. Out of curiosity I tapped the weapon. It's made of papier mâché, easy to pick up if I wanted. But I left it there. So what's the plan? 𝗧𝗏 asked. No idea, I said simply. I have no idea what their quirks are. I said. Weren't you paying attention during the quirk assessment? 𝗧𝗏 asked. Not really. I just sat down and stared up into space, then snapped out of it once my turn was on. I admitted, which made her pale, but I can figure out Todoroki's quirk based on the ice on his body. I said. Well, yeah, he has an ice quirk. 𝗵𝗃 just has the purple ball growing on his scalp. They can stick to each other and the ground. She said. Well, that's odd. I said, but manageable. Alright, here's the plan. The 5 minutes passed, and the air suddenly got colder. As we planned, 𝗧𝗏 jumped onto my back as the whole building got froze over. Alright, like I expected. Now they'll expect you to be somewhere else. You can just hide behind those wood panels over there. I'll handle Todoroki. I said. Got it, she said as she hopped off and hid behind the boards. I stayed frozen and waited for Todoroki to show up. Sorry about that, Todoroki said, entering the room. We're in entirely different leagues. You got that right, I said as I flicked my finger at him. The force sent him colliding into the wall. 𝗧𝗏, I called out. Right, she said as she wrapped the tape around him before he could get up. Shoto, Todoroki has been captured, All Might said over the intercom. Alright, go capture 𝗵𝗃. I'm kinda stuck, I said. Rightio, Captain, 𝗧𝗏 said before skating away with her acid. Todoroki stirred before walking up. Good, can you unfreeze me? I asked. How did you know about that? Todoroki asked. Took a guess. An educated one, I said. Considering half your body is frozen, I'd figure there was something to balance out the cold, fire or something, I said. He nodded begrudgingly as the ice around my legs melted. Thank goodness, I muttered. How did you beat me? Todoroki asked. Well, like you said, we're in entirely different leagues, I said. Just how strong are you? Todoroki asked. It's better if you don't know, I said before sitting down. 𝗧𝗏, I'm unfrozen. Feel free to call if you need backup. Got it, she said before signing off. So recommendation, huh? I asked. He stayed silent. Geez, way to give me a literal cold shoulder. If you won't tell me how strong are you, then tell me what makes you so strong, Todoroki muttered. Geez, so demanding, I muttered jokingly. Answer the question, Todoroki said. Did you fail basic punctuation? That's not a question, that's a demand, I said, and besides, I don't have to answer you. At least not until you learn proper manners. I'm not here to make friends, Todoroki said. Then we're done here, I said as I started tracing my finger over the ice. Awkward silence. Fine, Minoru 𝗵𝗃 has been captured. The villains win. All Might yelled. Never mind, the event's over. I said as I ripped off the capture tape on Todoroki. Oh my gosh Ishido, what happened? I exclaimed. She was covered in my Netta's purple ball. Man talking about his quirk and not making it into an unintentional euphemism is harder than trying not to make ice jokes at Todoroki's expense. That little midget dash, midget is a derogatory term, it's dwarfism. I said. That little dwarf used his quirk on me. I luckily pushed through and captured him. Ishido said. Well, you could have called for backup. I said. He covered my ear. She said, turning her head. Wow, that's actually really smart. I muttered. After that exchange we all met up to discuss who was the MVP of this round. It should be Midoriya, sir. Momo Yaoyorozu, the other recommended student, said. How so? I asked. You were the one who countered Todoroki, not to mention came up with the plan to make sure Ishido didn't get caught in the freezing. You predicted your opponent's moves before they happened. She said. You sugarcoat me. He wasn't that strong to figure out. I muttered, which earned me a glare from Todoroki himself. Don't give me that look. I said. Anyway, next match, let's go. All Might yelled as the next group went up. It was Group J as heroes versus Group F as villains. I was now officially off the clock. Well, I have nothing better to do, I might as well mingle with some of the students in hopes they're actually decent people. So, recommended student, huh? I asked. Yaoyorozu looked at me, not interested. She said. Okay. You still didn't answer my question. I said. Did you not get the hint? She asked. Yes, I did. You're not interested, and neither am I said simply. If I cared enough for a relationship I would be in one right now. All I want to know is how is being a recommended student different from the regular students? Is that too much to ask for? I asked. Sorry about the dash, no, I'm sorry. She muttered, back in my junior high, most boys only cared about my body. She muttered. Well, those guys are sacks of shit, I said before All Might shot me a glare. Garbage, sacks of garbage. I said. She laughed before extending her hand. Momo Yaoyorozu. Izuku Midoriya, finally another decent person pushing the count to 667, I joked. So to answer your question. Recommended students are determined based on their merit during middle school, and they need to be recommended. She explained. I see, go on. I said. After that they are taken to a different variant of the test, where they are given a written exam like always. Then a practical exam, where it was just a massive race. As well as an interview, which was done by Principal Nizu. She said, there was one student who got first place, but didn't come to you, she said. I assume Mr. Freeze got second place. I asked. Indeed he did. Yaoyorozu answered. Interesting. I muttered. Kinda makes me wonder, had I gone to class I might have gotten a recommendation. You didn't go to class? Yaoyorozu asked, with a gasp. No. I said flatly, I just didn't learn anything, so I only show up for attendance, then leave. I have straight A's, so the principal didn't care. So long I aced the tests and got high grades, who cares where I am? I said, so I got a job at the nearby 7-Eleven. Help my mom with the skyrocketing bills. I see, I apologize for misjudging you. She said. Don't get me wrong, I'm extremely lazy and unmotivated most of the time. In fact, the only reason I'm here, I said before leaning in, is because I want my mom to have an easier life for the remainder of her days. I said. Why would you whisper that? Yaoyorozu asked. That's an admirable goal. Because I won't tell Captain Cold. She's just nice to a fault. I commented. To a fault? Uraraka asked. Yeah, there's being nice, then there's you. I said, not that being nice isn't bad, but who knows where being nice could get you. I said. You sound like you speak from experience. Ida said. I always speak from experience, I said as the lunch bell rang. Well, time to get to class, I said as I dumped the contents of my tray into the nearby waste receptacle. I always speak from experience. The press was outside the gates clambering for all might like the annoying people they are. Remember when the press wasn't so invasive? I sure as heck don't. Anyway, I ignored them and walked inside. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 and 𝗳𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗛 didn't, they actually answered their questions. That's the first trap. Anyway, enough ranting about the mosquitoes that are the press. We entered class and Mr. Aizawa had some advice over our battle trial yesterday. 𝗵𝗃𝗲. Grow up already. Stop wasting your talent. Mr. Aizawa scooted. Got it. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 growled. I don't know if he's being genuine, or telling Mr. Aizawa what he wants to hear. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I gave 𝗳𝗐𝗏 a fresh start. I'll give him one too, besides he hasn't given me much CRP yet. So progress. Now on to homeroom business. Sorry for the sudden announcement today, but Mr. Aizawa said as everyone braced for the worst, you'll pick a class president. Mr. Aizawa said. Wow, something normal. And of course everyone springs at the opportunity to do something for their class. Not me though. Too much effort needed to do stuff. Silence, everyone, please. 𝗳𝗐𝗏 called out, which silenced the whole class. The class president's duty is to lead others. That's not something just anyone can do. You must first have the trust of every student in the classroom. Therefore, the most logical way to fill this position is democratically. We will hold an election to choose our leader. Yes. I agree. As such, I nominate 𝗳𝗐𝗏 for the position. I said as I pointed at him, which led everyone excluding 𝗳𝗏 to be confused. What? I studied politics one summer because I was bored. It's the first rule of position elections, weed out the many to get the few. Why do you think we have like 5 people for the prime minister elections? I said, that's why I nominated 𝗳𝗏. All in favor raise your hand. I said as 11 other people including 𝗳𝗏 himself, 𝗳𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏, and 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 raised their hands. 11/20ths, majority rules. That means 𝗳𝗏 has been cleared for the actual elections. I said, it's also fun to point at people. Oh, I see, then in that case I nominate 𝗳𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏. Ciro said, pointing to 𝗳𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 in grandiose fashion. Wow, this is fun. Alright, all in favor? I asked as I raised my hand, along with 13 out of 20 people. Alright, motion passes. 𝗳𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 has made it to the actual elections. Anyone else? I asked. I nominate 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏. She said, pointing at me. SHT, yeah, that's true, he knows a lot about politics. Mina said as she raised her hand, as did 17 out of 20 students. Everyone except 𝗵𝗃𝗲, Todoroki, and I voted for me. What is this, America? Don't we have standard with who is leading our country? /N, it's not political bias, if you don't know which leader I'm talking about, but I'm talking about JP Morgan obviously. Looks like 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 has made it to the actual elections. 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 said. Well, I stepped down. I said simply. What? Everyone exclaimed. I just think those two will be better in the position. I said. Bullshit. You're just lazy. 𝗵𝗃𝗲𝗏 yelled. That's also true. I said as I sat back down. The official election between the two nominated candidates has started, and by a 15-5 landslide, 𝗳𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 has won the presidency, with 𝗳𝗏 as the vice president. It's an honor to be your class president. 𝗳𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 said with a bow. We will make you proud. 𝗳𝗏 said with a bow as well. I smiled inwardly. They were the best options anyway. The class presidency was pretty much the only thing that we had to do for homeroom, and soon all the classes went by in a blur, though I still miss being able to leave class when I deemed fit. Still, these guys are way better than those at junior high, even if they have faults. However, I need my alone time. So I got my lunch and headed outside. There was a nice tree giving me some nice shade with a perfect view of a dead garden, a perfect metaphor for my motivation. 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 great loud noises. Security level 3 has been broken. All students. Please evacuate in an orderly fashion. A robotic voice over the intercom said. Oh, great evacuation. Well, at least I'm outside. I grabbed my food and walked towards the evac area, but I saw the source of the noise, the 𝗵𝗃𝗲. Do you cockroaches have anything better to do? I asked. They turned to face me, then looked angry. Who are you? Don't you recognize him? He's the kid who destroyed the slime villain in one flick of a finger 10 months ago. One reporter said. I thought I told them to not mention this. Can't trust no one these days. Well, I could use this to my advantage. I'm glad you recognize me now. Could you kindly get the heck out of my school? This is kinda against the law, and infiltrating a world renowned school will probably ruin your reputation. Right to information or not? I said. He's right. Mr. Aizawa said, if you leave, we'll say this was a misunderstanding. But it was a misunderstanding. Another reporter said. As far as we know, and as far as the police will know, it's not. I said before nudging towards the melted metal door, unless you can explain how the heck you melted the gate. Fine, we'll be back for that interview. The lead reporter said as they left. Man, public media is such a total drag. I muttered, before looking at my food. My katsudon got cold. Mr. Aizawa sighed. I'll make the announcement, and 𝗵𝗃𝗲𝗄, get to class. Got it. Class got delayed on the count of the annoying pests. Pests and press. Soon class continued and we were told that we were taking a mini field trip to a rather secluded area in UA. We were participating in rescue training with Class 1B. Apparently Mr. Aizawa and Class 1B's teacher, 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗁, had a discussion over who should get the area we're using first. Midnight broke HT argument by saying they should share the area. They agreed anyway. Mr. Aizawa then brought out our hero costumes. He said we could use them, but some are more well suited for the job than others. My costume, however, just came in if what All Might told me was true. So I wanted to break it in. My costume was a basic yet useful design. A dark green baggy and reversible jumpsuit. So I can be cool when it's warm, and warm when it's cool. That way I won't have to make a winter and summertime variant. As for the inner workings, aside from the reversibleness, it's also extremely durable. So when I consider going all out, I won't destroy my suit. Oh, and it's padded to heck and back, serves as armor. It's not flashy in any way, but it's thoughtful, so I'm sticking with it. Everyone has comments about my costume, mostly positive. Some said it's basic, some said nothing at all. Then I just shrugged and said I like it, so I'm keeping it. They seemed satisfied with that answer. However, I was interested in Class 1B, so I decided to walk over to them. Hey, are you a ? I greeted before I was cut off by a blonde kid. What do you plan to do? Class 1ASCU ? Anyway, how are you all doing? I asked, walking past him. Too much effort dealing with him. Oh, we are well. A strawberry blonde haired girl said before extending her hand. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁 kendo, nice to meet you. She said. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗧𝗔𝗵𝗃𝗁. I said, shaking her hand. So what's up with him? I asked, nudging towards the blonde form earlier ranting and raving to other 1B students. He gets like that with 1A present. She said. Okay. I'm just going to ignore him. Ida took his role as vice president in stride, ordering us to get in line based on table number so we can board the bus in an orderly fashion. Turned out the bus didn't fit that idea. This bus layout ruined my boarding strategy. He muttered, looking defeated. Ida, you really need to chill. Ashido commented. If we're pointing out the obvious, then there's something I want to say about you actually. Azui said. What? I asked her. Your quirk, isn't it a lot like All Might's? She asked. Sure, I throw things really strong and run really fast. Makes sense how you'd get the two mixed up. I said. Yeah, what's up with that? Kirishima asked. Who knows? I said simply. But who knows? I restated. Moving on, how did you get into this school? Ribbit? Azui asked. What do you mean? I asked. Well, 𝗳𝗧𝗧𝗛𝗡 exclaimed during battle training that you skipped class, not to mention 𝗵𝘃𝗲 said you were incredibly lazy. She said, so how did they let someone like you in? You could reword that a little better. I commented, but I skipped class because I didn't need to be there. I said. What do you mean? She asked. I maintained straight as, the classes didn't teach me anything I didn't already know at the time. So I didn't show up, aside from tests and to turn in my weekly packet of homework. I usually did it in a day though. I said, as for the laziness, there are things you shouldn't waste your energy on. I see. She muttered. Well, you don't have the makings of a true hero. 𝗳𝗲𝗵𝗃 commented. I got that a lot. I said before smirking, and I prefer it that way. Before Ajui or anyone could ask about my wording or the implication, Mr. Aizawa told us that we are here. Welp, time to go work. I said as I got off the bus first. 39 of us stood in front of Mr. Aizawa, and 13, I just sat on the wall where the bushes were at the edge of the main entrance. Where's Mr. Vlad? Kendo asked. He's back at school, he had some important business to take care of, whatever that is. Meanwhile, back at school, so you two might as well take the time to listen to some of my teaching philosophies. They could prove useful during your teaching endeavors. Nizu said to Skinny All Might and Vlad King, all the while pouring himself some freshly brewed tea. Oh great, this is turning into a lecture, they both thought in unison, but didn't dare question the one who writes their paychecks. Alright, let's get started. Midoriya, you might want to come closer. 13 said. I'm all ears. I called out, they nodded and continued on with their lecture. So far they're my favorite teacher for not making me join the group. There are times I want to be alone. 13's explanation consisted of the powers of quirks, and how they can be very well used to kill, but they could be used to save, hence why the USJ, yes that's the abbreviation, was created so we can use our quirks in natural disasters. Now, let's get start. Mr. Aizawa said before he turned to face the stairwell. A black portal appeared, as people started coming out. Huddle up and don't move. Mr. Aizawa said, before putting his goggles on. 13 protect the students. What the heck's that? More battle robots. Like during the entrance exam? Kirishima asked. Don't move, those are villains. Mr. Aizawa stated, causing everyone to tense up in fear. Man, what a drag. The only heroes I see are 13 and Eraserhead. Perplexing. According to the schedule we retrieved from you. All Might should be here as well. A mist villain said. So they're here for All Might, to kill him probably, makes the most sense why they want All Might. So you scumbags used the press as a cover and sneaked onto our campus. Mr. Aizawa figured out. Where is he? The hand villain asked. I went through the trouble of bringing so many friends eager to meet him. They want All Might. The great symbol of peace. I can't believe he's not here. He complained before sighing, maybe if I kill a few kids, he'll come out to play. Mr. Aizawa activated his quirk and prepared to jump into battle. While the others were in disbelief over how there are so many villains and how could they not have triggered the alarm. Todoroki inferred that it had to be one of the villains' quirk that is masking their presence and as such isn't setting off the alarm. Mr. Aizawa told 13 to get us out of here and call the campus for help, before he jumped down to fight the villains. Let's go everyone. 13 yelled, but wait, where's the me? Wait. I called out, but it was too late. The mist villain appeared right in front of 13 and the others. There is no escape for you. The mist villain said, it's a pleasure to meet you. We are the League of Villains. I know it's impolite, but we decided to invite ourselves into this haven of justice to say hello. And besides, isn't this a fitting place for All Might, the symbol of peace, to take his last breath? I knew it, they really are here to kill All Might. Though that's pretty damn ambitious for a bunch of villains that are being beat by Mr. Aizawa. Maybe it's the muscly brain guy in the back's job. I believe he was supposed to be here today, and yet I see no sign of him. There must have been some sort of change in plans we could not have foreseen. Well, In the end, I supposed it doesn't matter. He said as he expanded his body, I still have a role to play. Kirishima and Bakugu rushed forward towards the villain, idiots. I yelled but it was too late. They landed their punch and explosion in him, but he reappeared once the dust settled. What? Kirishima asked. Have you taken physics before? He's gas, how are you going to punch gas? I yelled, besides think about it. He's gas, yet he suddenly appeared in front of us in a fraction of a second. I have two theories why. I said which got the mist villain's attention. The first theory was that one of the villains has a wind manipulation quirk, we could have felt it though, so that theory was shot down immediately. The second and most likely theory he has a warp quirk. There was silence, before the sound of clapping was heard, you catch on quick impressive. He said, before continuing his attack, but knowing my quirk means no difference. He yelled as he enveloped everyone in a misty sphere, I'm too far away to get caught but if that's how he warps people, then I need to get someone out of there fast. I used my speed to rush inside the dome. I see a red and white hat a student. I picked them up and did a complete 180. They were rather light, makes my life easier. Once I was out I looked to see who I got out of there. They were wearing a hat that looked like a red spotted mushroom. What happened? She asked looking at me. That villain used his quirk. I said as I saw that at least 80% of the students are gone, leaving me, the girl, Ida, Uraraka, Kendo, Ashido, Sato, Shoji, some guy with weird eyes, Zero, a white-haired girl with weird arm posture, and that blonde guy from earlier. He transported them somewhere. Shoji, can you get a lock on them? Already on it. He said as he sprouted a few years on his arms, they're all over the USJ. But I can hear them fighting. They probably have villains stationed around the different sectors. So they can pick some of us off while dealing with All Might. I said. I felt the girl tense up and start trembling. She's scared. Think Izuku, how did mom used to help me when I was scared with nightmares when I was younger? Whether you're scared or nervous about a fight, or anything for that matter, just try and deal with it by smiling. All Might's words flashed through my head. Hey, don't worry about them. They got into this school for a reason. If anything I should be scared of the villains, the others will beat them with one arm tied behind their backs. I said with a smile. She stopped trembling, so that must be a good sign. Besides, I'll protect you. We'll get through this, then after all 40 of us can go out and get strawberry banana smoothies. Is that cool, Itachi? Itachi? She asked. Well yeah, I don't know your name, and you have that mushroom on your head, and the first mushroom that popped into my mind was shiitake mushrooms, so I decided to call you Itachi. Do you not like it? I asked. And no, that's fine. She said as she gave me a smile. Good, she's not as scared anymore. However, I looked up to glare at the villain. Shoji, protect Itachi. I said as I set her down next to him. What are you going to do? Shoji asked, but I kept walking towards him. Midoriya, get back. 13 yelled, but I ignored her orders. I got close and flicked my fingers at the mist villain. He was sent flying towards the top corner, the one next to the door. Everyone was stunned by that flash of power, but I kept walking. He tried to rush towards me, but I kept flicking him away. Once I reached the door I punched it off the hinges. Ida, go get help. I said. What? Ida asked. You're the fastest one here, by a country mile. So go to you. And get some backup. I responded. But now. I yelled, remember what I said at the entrance exam, this is what separates the heroes from the wannabes. Well, now is a good time to use your quirk to be a hero. I yelled, now go, before I grab you by the collar and throw you outside. Ida nodded before rushing outside. The mist villain got up once Ida left, then disappeared. Once Ida left, a loud slam echoed throughout the USJ. We all turned to see the muscle villain pinning down Mr. Aizawa and slamming his face into the pavement. I was hoping he would be able to handle it, but looks like I'll have to get my hands dirty. I began walking towards the stairs. Midoriya, you can't be serious. 𝗧𝗏 yelled. I'm never serious, I said as I continued walking towards the stairs. But that'll kill you, it's suicide. 𝗳𝗏𝗏𝗥 yelled, trying to get me to stay. Well, luckily I'm not suicidal. Besides, I'm of no use to anyone if I'm dead, I said before turning back around. I usually never make promises, but when I do, I keep them. So I will beat that villain and survive. Then I'll uphold my promise of strawberry banana smoothies, I said before walking towards the stairs again. But if Mr. Aizawa can't take him down, what makes you think you can? The weird eye guy asked. Wow, you're really bad at pep talks. But if you must know, I said before winking at them, at this point I can't afford not to care anymore. And then I kicked off the top step and zoomed down to the ground level. Once there I took out all of the villains in a flash before walking slowly towards the stunned villains and Mr. Aizawa. Once I was about 2 meters away I stopped. Let him go, I said. The hand villain was shocked for a few seconds before laughing. Man, kids these days surely are amazing, but this isn't the playground, kid, I'm more powerful than you can imagine, he said. Then why is he doing the fighting? I asked, nudging towards the muscle villain. That is 𝗏𝗵𝗃, he was designed to kill All Might, but he follows my every command. Gross. So anyway, I'm just here to get my teacher and leave, but since he won't let go I'll just have to make him let go, I said as I launched myself at Mr. Hands-on approach. As I expected, the muscle villain blocked the punch. I figured you'd have super speed, and judging by the muscle mass, unless you've been hitting the gym, you have super strength as well, I said before hopping back in front of Mr. Aizawa. Midoriya, get out of here, Mr. Aizawa muttered. Sorry, couldn't hear you, you must have a coal-paced lung, I said before turning back to the villains. Then the mist villains suddenly repaired. Tomura Shigaraki, the mist villain said, so that's his name, good, I was tired of calling him the hand villain. Kurogiri, did you manage to kill 13? Shigaraki asked, so he's Kurogiri, good, now I know their names. No, I was stopped by that one, and one of the students managed to escape, he said. Shigaraki tensed up and began scratching his neck. Kurogiri, you fool, if you weren't our warp gate, I'd tear apart every last atom in your body, he said. Then he stopped scratching his neck. There's no way we can win if dozens of pros show up to stop us. It's game over. Back to the title screen. And I was looking forwards to finishing this today. 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗏𝗏. Let's go home, he said before looking at me. But first, he's too much of a threat, he said before pointing at me. 𝗏𝗏𝗏, kill him. Before I could even react, the muscle monster known as 𝗏𝗏𝗏 rushed towards me and punched me square in the stomach. It hurt a lot, but I'm not down. How? I grabbed his arm and tossed him into the fountain behind the two villains so I can process this. How can this be? My HP should be at 1 or something, aka 1 hit from being out of commission. Wait, HP, hope points, there is only one explanation. These guys give me hope. It's absolutely cheesy, but it makes sense. You're going to have to try harder than that, I said before standing up straight and getting ready for a fight. I'm still in this, but I don't know how many more hits I can take now. I should be careful and not get hit at all, or else I might be game overed. Ito will be back to bring reinforcements. While I could take him down probably with my full power, I can't risk it. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 got out from the fountain and rushed towards me. I blocked his punch with my own, creating a shockwave from the kinetic energy. Stall. So why are you guys doing this? Why kill All Might? I asked while dodging and punching the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the chest. Because heroes think they can get away with being as violent as you want if they say it's for the sake of others. Well, that me off, Shigaraki said. Why do people get to decide that some violent acts are heroic and others are villainous? He asked. That sounds like a load of garbage, but I have to keep stalling. Yeah, I hate that too, I said. Midoriya — they use their quirks to save people, and not care about the collateral damage they cause in return, making people like me have to pay more for their mess. That feeling of knowing that no matter what you do, there is always an outside force that screws you over. It makes it really strong for me to give it my all. I said before dodging and punching the 𝗵𝗲 again, or is that a bad excuse of being lazy? The hell if I know. Not that what I said was a lie. Had quirks not exist, I probably would have focused more on other things instead of having to work. Shigaraki laughed at my reason. You see, heroes just make other people's lives more miserable. But why are you still fighting us? He asked. Because, I said before punching the 𝗵𝗲 far out of the way, I want to be a hero for money so I can give my mom a better life. I decided to come here because I could. However, I met some people, actually decent people, and not like the scum at my junior high. I actually care about them. And seeing what would have happened had I not stepped in, well, I couldn't afford to not care anymore. I said as 𝗵𝗲 got up and rushed back towards me. You made a mistake attacking us now. I said as I blocked 𝗵𝗲's punch with my own again. is under my protection. I yelled as I began unleashing a flurry of punches on the 𝗵𝗲, who began attacking back with his own flurry of punches. Faster, faster. His punches were getting deflected. I took that opportunity to knock him into the air. Time to finish this thing off. As it was falling back down, I used one for all and braced for the consequences. You won't eliminate. I am here. My hope. I yelled as I delivered the most powerful punch I could muster, causing a delayed explosion that caused the 𝗵𝗲 to soar towards the roof, then break past it. I did it, young Midoriya. A faint voice yelled. I saved everyone. My eyes shot open, as a familiar sight of fluorescent lights met my vision. What happened? I asked as I suddenly felt my head ache. The other villains escaped. Once All Might showed up, they didn't see a point in staying. A voice I instantly recognized as Recovery Girl said. Good, is everyone alright? I asked. Yes, everyone wasn't harmed aside from your arm, of course. She said as I saw my bandaged arm. I won't scold you for not using one for all properly, since you didn't have a choice. Sorry about that. I wanted to stall for All Might to come, but I kinda lost myself. I said. I suddenly had the longing to protect everyone. That's why I chose you as my successor. I turned to see All Might in his skinny form sitting in a chair. Oh hey All Might. I greeted as I sat up. The pain has subsided. Oh, that reminds me. I took a hit from the 𝗵𝗲, and I didn't collapse instantly. I said, which got All Might's attention. Really? Well, that shows you are making progress. Why is that? All Might asked. It's corny. But everyone gave me hope. I said. I was shocked at that fact when I was still awake after the full force punch. However, I came to the realization that my HP or hope points has increased. I said. But how did you know it was hope? And not that you have gotten more powerful? Recovery Girl asked. Because before I came here I worked out often to get stronger. However, as my power and speed increased, the amount of hits I could take decreased as a result. I thought it was because I was getting stronger and in exchange I lose HP. However, as the years went by, my hope and will to do my best went down as well. Could you blame me? Every student in my junior high was a complete jerk, rent and taxes rising every second because of collateral damage from heroes. Those factors made it strong to give it my all. I said. However, I met my classmates. They were way better than people in my junior high. They gave me hope. I explained. Again, it's cheesy, but it makes sense. I said before getting to my feet. Am I clear to go? I asked. Recovery Girl nodded. Yes, school will be cancelled tomorrow for recuperation, no exceptions. Recovery Girl said. Oh good, in that case. I said, which got their attention. Do you know any good smoothie places? Will everyone in your class be able to make it? We all said we would make it. Thank you for the offer. I got my bonus before I resigned. Besides, I promised 𝗧𝗵𝗃. Who? The girl with the mushroom hat. I don't know her name, so I call her 𝗧𝗃, after shiitake mushrooms. You mean Kinoko Komori? I'm sticking with 𝗧𝗃. She said she liked that nickname anyway. Anyway, I'll send you the details later, I need to tell 1A about this. Figured I'd ask your class first, they seemed like the hardest ones to convince to take a load off. IK, you should be the one taking a load off, you were the only one who got severely injured. Pain is an illusion. Pain is in the mind. IK, are you okay? I'm fine, I was just referencing a line from a video game from the past century. IK, what game? Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Anyway, getting off topic. I'll talk to 1A right now. See ya. Alright, one half of the plan is done, time for the other half. To the class 1A group chat. I don't know if it was a great idea or a horrible idea that 𝗳𝗧𝗪𝗧 made a group chat and added 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃. Half of the chat is their bull. Hey, you guys want to go out as a class? Along with 1B, 𝗳𝗵𝗵𝗃. I'm glad you're alright. It was just a broken arm 𝗳𝗧𝗪𝗃, it's fine. Just a broken arm. Getting off topic. I made a promise to the mushroom girl I left with Shoji, I'm sure you remember her Shoji. I do. Anyway, the promise that I would survive the battle with the Nomu and take all of you out for strawberry banana smoothies and a day out in the town. I said all 40 of us, so if you all would not make me a liar I would appreciate it. I'm down. Smoothies. Well, if you are offering 𝗵𝗃𝗃, I'm game. I have free time, sure. DK, hell yeah. Free smoothies. Hell yeah. KJ, I'm down too. MO, so am I, thanks 𝗵𝗃𝗃. So will I, KK, can I come too? Yes coulda, you can come. KK, then I will come too. EK, I'm in too. I'll drag 𝗵𝗃𝗃 along too. KB, why the F would I go? Because I saved your butt in the USJ. KB, I could have taken him easily. No you couldn't have. And I know where you live, so I'll be picking you up regardless of had you said yes or no. KB, F fine, but I don't need your pity smoothie. Good, saves me money. ST, no, I'm not here to make friends. TI, Todoroki, this is a good chance to bond with our classmates. I'll handle this 𝗳𝗧𝗪𝗧. Ice baby, in exchange for you coming with us. I'll tell you what my quirk is. ST, you think that will sway me? And don't call me that. You want to know how I beat that villain by myself. ST, fine, I'll come along. Great. Fantastic. 𝗳𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗃, Ida, Tokoyami, Aoyama, Satu, and Azui, you in. What about me? Only if you're on your best behavior you wouldn't want to get me angry. I promise. Good. DK, 𝗵𝗃𝗃 is scary as I should be, anyway you 6. TA, I'll tag along, but I don't like smoothies, or any cold beverage for that matter. Well good, that's why I picked the place that's near a coffee shop too. And if you say you don't like coffee I can't help you. TA, coffee is fine. I'm down too. Why, smoothies would be divine. FT, revelry in the dark. I'll take that as a yes. TI, I would like to attend as well, but 𝗵𝗃𝗃, you don't have to treat us. Yes, allow us to treat you after dealing with the villains. Great. I only had like 10,000 yen. Just kidding kinda, thanks for the offer, but I can handle it. It wasn't an ask. Dang, that was a rather intimidating text. I'm proud. Alright, I cave. Excellent. Where is this place? I sent them the location of this place and told them to meet me there in an hour and a half, they all agreed and signed off. My work is done. An hour and a half later I met up with the others, then I saw a girl crying. Being the kind individual I walked over to investigate what's wrong with her. I whispered to Kendo. She's taking the USJ incident strong, she said while comforting her. Idea. I walked over to 𝗧𝗵𝗧𝗛𝗏 and asked for a specific request. She nodded at my bizarre and sudden request and made me the materials. I made some necessary preparations before heading back. Alright, prepare to be amazed, I said as I held out the deck 𝗧𝗵𝗧𝗛𝗏 made and a paperclip. I'm going to need you to yell stop whenever you want, okay? I asked as I started running my thumb over the cards like a flipbook. She said stop around the middle. I took out the card and folded it into the paperclip. Okay, this is your card, alright. Keep that safe and away from me. I did some fancy shuffles while I was amping up the trick, so when I was a kid I was fascinated with magic tricks, the sense of wonder of how did they do that. My little mind was curious. I said as I belted out a card from the middle. Now look. I said as I flipped it over. There's the ace of diamonds. Alright, now I'm going to fan these out and I want you to pick one, I said. She looked hesitant but picked a card out of the deck. I choose this one, she said with hesitation. Alright, now flip it over. If that's the 2 of diamonds, that's cool, I said with excitement, and the card was the 8 of hearts. Is that bad? She asked. Nah, give it here, I said as I took the card from her hand and placed it on top of the deck, because we can just do this, I said as I took the card and the one below it, gave it a shake, while the 8 with the 2 of diamonds, they didn't see it because the shakes were so fast. They were amazed by that. Time to ride their amazement. A common trick for magicians is to have a card in their BA. See, there's the 3, I said, setting it down next to the 2. Now if I shoot one out from the center dash, I said as I did just that. See, there's the 4. Wow, how did he do that? Alright, I'm going to drop the cards slowly. I'ma need you to yell stop. Alright, I asked as I slowly dropped cards before she yelled stop. Alright, now see if that's the 5, I said as I pushed the last card dropped. She picked it up and it was the 5. What? She exclaimed with the look of wonder in her eyes. It's working. Alright, I think the 6 is about at 28 cards from the top, I said while shooting it out. There's the 6, I said, placing it on the table as the rest of class 1A came to watch the trick. Alright, now do you see this 10? I asked before sliding my hand over it, placing the 7 over it. Now it's a 7, I said as I placed it down next to the 6. Alright, you ready, tell me when to stop, I said as I did the same trick from the beginning on 𝗧𝗵𝗃. She yelled stop and I pulled out the 8. Everyone was shocked, even 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗏, however, just widened his eyes for a second, but the intended audience is entertained, so it's all that matters. I put a card in my pocket before I came over here. See, there's the 9, I said before I placed the deck on the table. Alright, now watch. I'm going to cut the deck into 4s, I said as I did just that, and hopefully we can find the 10, the Jack, the Queen, and the King, I said as I flipped the 2 top cards on 2 of the piles, revealing the aforementioned cards. Wow, there's the 10, the Jack, the Queen, and the King, I said as I placed them in their respective spots. Now what's your name? I asked while I sneakily grabbed a deck that wasn't shuffled but was missing the diamonds. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗍, she said. Alright 𝗧𝗃𝗁𝗍, name me a card, any card, I said. The 3 of clovers, she asked. Alright, I said as I gave the fake deck a fake shuffle. I figured why not take all the cards and shuffled all the clubs back in order, I said as I slid the clubs, revealing them to be in order. Had you said hearts, I said what the heck, and I shuffled all the hearts in order, I said as I slid the clubs across, revealing them to be in order. Had you said spades, I figured might as well, so I shuffled all the spades in order, I said as I slid the spades to show they were in order. What? 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗍 exclaimed. But where is the 3 of clovers? I said as I handed her the paperclip with the card. Why don't you pull that card out, I said. No way, she muttered as she pulled the card out of the clip. It had the 3 of clubs. What? She exclaimed as she looked around for any sort of explanation. How did you do that? With the cards, and the flips, and the shuffles. I laughed. A magician never reveals his tricks or else they'll get boring. I said with a smile, but you don't seem sad anymore, so my job is done. I said as I pulled up a seat and placed the diamonds back into the deck, but card games are always fun. Oh wait, the 3 of clubs is ruined. I muttered, Yayarozu, can you make us another? I asked. She smiled a knowing smile and made me another 3 of clubs. Here you go. She said. All right. I said as I stuck the 3 into the deck and gave it numerous shuffles. Who wants to play? Hours went by and I have yet to be defeated in any card game. How have you not lost yet? Tetsu asked. What can I say? I'm amazing. I said with a smirk. Come on, another row dash, this is a waste of time. Todoroki said, are you going to tell me about your quirk or not? He asked. I was wondering when you were going to be direct about it. I said as I set the deck aside. All right, I'll spill. Finally. He muttered. However, there's a stipulation. I said. Todoroki sighed. What? He asked. Tell us why you won't use your fire side. I said. What? He asked. If I'm the one spilling the beans, then you should too. I said. Todoroki, you don't deal. He said, but you go first. Smart boy. All right, gather round. I said as everyone made room for themselves at the table. The name of my quirk is Glass Cannon. Basic explanation is that my speed and strength are astronomical. At the cost of me having less health. I explained. The effort goes down in one strong hit. Bakugo said. I used to go down in one hit. I said. What? Bakugo asked. Yup, I took a hit from the muscle guy. It hurt, but I was still ready to fight. All it took was my arm being broken because of my full power to knock me out. I said. How did you get more health? Todoroki asked. You know what HP stands for in RPGs, right? I asked. Health points, why? Kirishima asked. Well, my variant is hope points. I explained. The reason I went down so easily before coming here was because I had basically next to no hope whatsoever. Especially since I'm in a family of 2 with the rent skyrocketing because of heroes being destructive with their powers, not to mention everyone at my junior high was a complete jerk. I said, however, things started to look up. I actually have friends. My mom got a better job. I have decent teachers. Heck, I actually want to be in class most of the time. Present mic can be really loud and 𝗵𝗃 occasionally bores me to sleep. Aside from that, I'd say everything's coming up Milhouse now. I said. So it's because of us that you're getting stronger? Kendo asked. Yeah. Which is why Todoroki. I said looking at him, that saying you're not here to make friends is a stupid idea. You'll need allies in a pinch, and should that day come, well, if you keep going the way you're going then things aren't going to be pretty. I said while shuffling the cards absent-mindedly. But hey, less competition for number 1 that way. He was silent. He's probably thinking about what I said. Good. Alright, who wants another round? I asked. What about Todoroki's end of the bargain? Uraraka asked. Who gives a dang? Whatever inner demons he's dealing with, he can tell us if he's good and ready. I said with a shrug. Besides, dealing with other people's problems is too much of a pain. I muttered. You helped Kodai a few hours ago. Rib bit. Azui said. Another round. I exclaimed, moving away from Azui calling me out in front of everyone. After a few more rounds we all parted ways for home. It was getting pretty late after all. As I was about to head home, Kendo called for me. Hey Midoriya. She yelled as she ran over to me. What happened? I asked. Nothing, just wanted to say thanks. She said, for doing this. I shrugged while trying to suppress a smile. I made a promise and I kept it. Besides, having crying people around is such a drag. I muttered. She laughed at my statement. Whatever you say, dude. She said, but hey, if you want to do something like this again, text me. I turned away before nodding. I'll keep that in mind. Our day off from school was over, and it's back to the old grind. Even though it was kinda old news, everyone was talking about the USJ attack. However, the conversation shifted from the USJ attack to who is going to teach today. The door slid open and our answer was walking towards the podium. Morning, class. Mr. Aizawa said. Mr. Aizawa, what are you doing here? Everyone excluding me yelled. Now that's a man right there. I muttered. Mr. Aizawa. I'm glad you're okay. Ida yelled while raising his hand. You call that okay? 𝗬𝗧𝗔𝗍𝗔 yelled. My well-being is irrelevant. What's more important is that your fight isn't over yet. Mr. Aizawa said, which caused everyone to tense up. Our fight? Bakugo asked. Not more bad guys. Mineta whimpered. A sports festival is about to start. Mr. Aizawa stated. Kirishima whispered a yes, and everyone else yelled, ugh. Why would you scare us like that? Let's go kick some butt. Kirishima yelled with excitement. Wait a second. Kaminari said while pushing Kirishima back into his seat. Is it really such a good idea to hold the sports festival so soon after the villains snuck inside? Jiro asked. They could attack once we're all in the same place. Ojiro added. It's probably to show the world that the situation has been handled and UA is as secure as ever. It's a publicity stunt, but a needed one. I muttered. Exactly. Plus we'll be beefing up security, so there will be 5 times as much security than in other years. Mr. Aizawa muttered before looking at us. This event is a huge opportunity for all students at UA. It's not something we can cancel because of a few villains. I'm sorry, but why not? Mineta asked. Aside from a wide-viewed spectacle, it's also used for pros to see who to scout for internships and potential sidekicks. I explained. Our sports festival is one of the most watched events in the entire world. In the past, everyone obsessed over the Olympic Games. But then Quirk started appearing. Now, the Olympics have been drastically reduced in terms of scale and viewership. Mr. Aizawa explained, for anyone who cares about competition, there's only one tournament that matters. A sports festival. Which is a pile of horseradish. The Olympics were fun to watch, especially the 2020 Olympics that was held in Tokyo. I explained. What's so special about the Olympics? Zero asked. The Olympics were a spectacle, so many different sports with so many countries competing for gold. Especially with the 2020 Olympics, which held the highest return in terms of new sports. Like surfing, climbing, karate, they even brought back baseball and softball after it was removed in 2008. Moving on. Mr. Aizawa said, which silenced my rant about the wonders of the Olympics. This is an opportunity to be scouted by a hero agency, like Midoriya stated earlier. It's true that joining a famous hero agency can garner you greater experience and popularity. That's why the festival matters. If you want to go pro one day, then this event could open the path for you. 1 chance a year. 3 chances in a lifetime. No aspiring hero can afford to miss this festival. Mr. Aizawa explained, that means you better not slack off on your training. Yes, sir. Everyone said. Class is dismissed. Mr. Aizawa said. Classes continued and lunch was upon us. Kirishima was the first one to speak. That villain stuff, sure, but I'm pumped for these games. He yelled. We put on a good show, and we're basically celebrities. Zero said. Yeah, until Midoriya destroys us for first place. Kaminari muttered. I only use full strength when I have to. Going all out is a pain. I muttered before standing up. Well, see you all later. I need to have a talk with the support department. What for? 𝗬𝗧𝗔𝗊𝗥 asked. Well, if I wanted to tell you I would have said it in the last sentence. I said, besides it's nothing worth worrying about. I said before exiting the room. 𝗬𝗍𝗔 texted me earlier, telling me the support department has something for me. It was a consensus met by the staff about the sports festival. I don't know what it is, but it'll probably 𝗧𝗑𝗧𝗍𝗂. I stood in front of the metal doors and knocked twice. The doors didn't just slide open, they blew off the hinges. Thanks to my quick reflexes, I managed to catch a door before I met my impending death. *********, I probably rewired the circuitry wrong. A feminine voice said, "Oh, who are you?" She asked. I tossed the door to the side. "I'm 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃, the teachers said you had something for me." I asked. Her eyes widened, and I'm sure the shrunk. "Oh. Excellent. Come in. She said as she dragged me inside. There was dust and soot papering the walls. "Handsome, if you blow up something 𝗬𝗵𝗵𝗃, welcome, your disadvantage is ready," the teacher, 𝗬𝗨𝗱, said. Of course I get a disadvantage. Such a pain. I muttered. "Oh, can it and try these on?" He said as he struggled to set down a box on the table. I opened them to see 4 braces. "What are these?" I asked. "Ultra compressed weights, made by yours truly," 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said, looking proud. "They're designed to add at 250 kilos each." She asked. "What?" I asked. "They're meant to slow down your fast speed and eat up your strength." It was Mr. Aizawa's request, and we all agreed if what he told us was true. 𝗬𝗨𝗱 said. "Why me?" I complained as I put on the weights. "They are super heavy. I really feel it," I said as I struggled to move. Even at 100% power, I could barely move. 1,000 kilos total, meaning I'm walking around in 2,000-ish. That's a freaking ton. Literally. "Good, now you can be slowed down for the festival. Good luck, kid, you're gonna need it," he said as I slowly made my way out of the door and towards the teacher's lounge. I needed to talk to a certain blonde man /****, I yelled as I slowly trudged my way over towards him. "I see you got your disadvantage," 𝗬𝗍𝗃 said. Yeah, I did," I said as I sat down on the couch, causing it to break. "That's on your head. Why, you sat down on the couch?" 𝗬𝗍𝗃 yelled. "Yeah, and you agreed to this," I yelled as I struggled to get up, but I did. I literally need 100% just to move. "Well, good, that's training," he said. "It's old school, but it's effective. Train under intense weight and you can get stronger and faster to account for it." "Fine, besides it's not like I can take them off for the festival," I muttered, "but a freaking ton. Hey, back in my heyday I could carry 15 tons, he said. "But you're a walking pile of muscle. I'm 5 feet 4 inches. I yelled. "Man, you're short," 𝗬𝗍𝗃 commented. "Not helping," I yelled again, as 𝗬𝗍𝗃 laughed. "I'm only kidding, besides, it makes sense. If you even used more than 10% of your power you could destroy the competition." 𝗬𝗍𝗃 said, "We want everyone to show off equally so they can get some form of experience. Anyway, moving on. How is 𝗏 coming? Any progress in that department?" "No, in fact against the 𝗏𝗵𝗃 was the second time I used it. The pain knocked me out. So far I've made no progress," I said. "Well, that's bad, but you have 2 weeks until the sports festival hits, so train with 𝗏, 𝗬𝗍𝗃 said. "And if I injure myself, who will heal me?" I asked. "That's why I'm going to train you here. Recovery girl will be here so broken bones won't be a problem," 𝗬𝗏 said. "I'm pretty sure she would be if I kept coming. There has to be a better way to use 𝗏, I said as I sat back down on the destroyed sofa. "Let's see, I'm not as built as you. In fact, I'm half your size in your muscle form. So that mean I'm nowhere near ready to use 𝗏 like you do." So maybe I shouldn't use full power. I concluded. That could work. He said as he got up, want to test that theory out? 𝗲𝗵𝗃 asked. Sure. A trip outside to ground beta, that would have taken like 5 minutes to walk, took 30 with my freaking weights. Now I could have taken them off, but I need to be at least semi-comfortable with them before the festival. Anyway, I have 20 minutes to test this theory, and probably waddle back to Recovery Girl and heal me if I need it. Alright, we're here. 𝗲𝗵𝗃 said. Alright, let's test the theory. I said as I summoned one for all at 5% so we can have a ground. I threw a fully powered punch and a shockwave was sent down the fake road. Any pain? 𝗲𝗵𝗃 asked. No, I'm fine, but I can't help but feel that wasn't the right answer. I muttered. How so? 𝗲𝗵𝗃 asked. Well, I can't really explain it properly, but this seems one-sided. I asked, like I'm focusing more on the power aspect of this, but not the speed. You're fast, and it's safe to assume you use one for all for such speed, right? I asked. Yes, that is correct. 𝗲𝗵𝗃 responded. So if you're using one for all for strength, and for speed, then I'm doing something wrong by focusing on strength alone. I got it. I exclaimed. What? 𝗲𝗵𝗃 asked. Before I can respond, the bell rang. I'll tell you later, but can you text midnight that I'm going to be a tad bit late? I asked as 𝗲𝗵𝗃 nodded. As I trudged my heavy body towards class, I was feeling a small sense of excitement. I think I found the answer for one for all. The next day was bizarre. Well, what are all of you doing here? 𝗬𝗧𝗏𝗃 asked. Do you have business with our class? 𝗬𝗏 asked. They're blocking all the exits. I won't let you hold us hostage. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 yelled. They're scouting out the competition. I said as I began heading towards the door. I was slow, but I made it. Could you all move out of the way? They didn't budge. Oh well. I held out my hand ready to flick at a moment's notice. I'm hungry. You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry. So step aside. I said. Huh, are all of you class 1A students this much of an butt? A purple-haired guy said. No, but I'm hungry, so step aside. I said, walking up to him. Ha, he chuckled. Well, it'll be that much sweeter when I take your spot in particular. He said. I stayed silent for him to finish his point. You see, those who failed the entrance exam are placed in the general course. However, say someone from general wins the festival, they get to move on to the hero course should a teacher agree upon it. He said, so consider this a declaration of war. I'm coming for your spot. Are you done? I asked. 𝗵𝗃𝗃. That's rude. Yeah, and coming here to tell me he'll give me the boot is super polite. I said, look, that whole war thing was kinda cute, but let me tell you this. I said, I'm training to become a hero for one reason, a personal reason. If you think you're going to take that from me, then you're more stupid than brave. I said while patting his shoulder. Now can I eat lunch now? After that incident, I decided that this week was training/study week. Because some genius at 𝗬𝗧𝗏 decided to have the midterms right before the sports festival. It was probably 𝗵𝗍𝗏. Anyway, I've been trying to use one for all the way I want it to. Basically, instead of using one for all at certain areas, let's say my fist, I want to use at least 5% all over my body, my arms, my legs, the whole shebang. That way I can be fast and strong at the same time. The problem is actually doing that. Okay, that's vague. I can do it, but once I take a few steps, I lose my grip on the power. While I'm making progress by activating it like that and moving a few feet, it's strong to move in that position, or at least confusing. I didn't have time to be dilly-dallying with trying to use one for all, train with the weights, not to mention study, which I've been slacking on lately. Not that I need it badly, but I want to ace the test. I've been number 1 in my school for so long, I kinda want to keep that. So that's why I decided to green light Operation Power Study. Basically, I used the treadmill at 𝗬𝗧𝗏's gym. Power Loader built a way more sturdier one for me, and the ton added to my body weight, It was also in a secluded part of the gym so that way no one will know about the disadvantage and feel like they got a weak win. So I've placed my textbook of whatever subject I'm studying for, today is math, while I've been using one for all with the weights. I noticed my time with that power has extended after a little while, not to mention the weights don't feel like a ton anymore, they feel like 890, but the point is still there. I'm slowly but surely adapting to the weight change and one for all. I just have to keep hammering. A week and a half later, and midterms are done. Not that it was any trouble, but it was a massive waste of time. Did I mention I hate tests? Yes. Well, I'm saying it again, tests are a waste of time. Sure, it's to show the teacher how far you've come and your areas of improvement, but if the teacher was paying attention, then they'd notice the areas of improvement. The one blessing is that they grade their tests fast. I can pocket it quickly and get back to Trey. What did you get, 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏? 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗛𝗏 asked. Right, another thing I hate about tests, the students comparing with each other. I shrugged and showed her my test. You got 100 out of 100 too? She asked. Ha, I chuckled, looks like we have to share the number one spot. I said before standing up and heading back outside. So far, no one has questioned my slower movement, good. I like to keep it that way for now. With the rest of the week I continued honing one for all. I pretty much holding on to the form with the week and a half, and now I want to see how far I can push one for all before I started feeling pain. All the while my body has pretty much adjusted to the weights. I was surprised by how fast my body has adjusted, but it makes my life easier. Anyway, after doing some tests I figured out that I can go up to 10% with 100% of my glass cannon without feeling much pain. At this point if I go higher I start to feel stinging in my body. But it's still progress, and this was a massive leap. However, it's time to get this over with. The sports festival is here. Granted, everyone knows my quirk and the weaknesses it has. Though I could take a hit from 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 strong enough to kill All Might, so it might take them a while, but still I need to keep my guard up. We were all sitting in the 1A waiting/locker room an hour before the sports festival started. Apparently it's a rule so no one would be late. Everyone was preparing themselves while I was struggling with my hair. Sure, I may or may not have completely forgot to brush it for the past few months and it's tangled and unkempt, and sure I may or may not have be up to my lower back at this point in time due to me not wanting to get a haircut since the last year of elementary, and sure it's naturally curly so it's a pain in the butt to take care of it, but I'll handle it okay. I can't. I need help. I looked around to see if anyone wasn't busy, then I saw 𝗂𝗍𝗍𝗍. Now is my chance, hey 𝗂𝗍𝗍𝗍. I asked. She looked at me confused. What is it, 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏? And call me Tsu. Oh okay, Tsu, can you do my hair? I asked. The whole room was awkwardly silent before literally every girl, with the exception of Jairu, stood up and headed towards me. Ooh, I wanna do it. Hagakure exclaimed. Nah, let me do it. I'll make you look hot, 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏. Ashido said. I have experience with different braids and hairstyles, I can do it. 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏 said. But I wanna do it. Uraraka whined. He asked me, rib bit. Tsu pointed out. I was literally scared for my life, as I was looking at all the boys for help. Mineta and Kaminari looked jealous, while everyone else shrugged. Maybe you should cut your hair, 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏. Shoji said. No. I'm too far gone now. I exclaimed, before looking at the 5 girls who wanted to do my hair. Why don't all of you do it? I asked. Brilliant. They all exclaimed. I'll go down to the nearby hair salon. 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏 said with excitement as the other girls pulled up a chair for me to sit in. I might regret this, will I? I walked to the chair and decided to let the girls take the wheel. It took 5 minutes for 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏 to come back with a basket full of hair products. It was at that moment where I realized that I f up. I f up in terms of not brushing my hair and asking Tsu in front of everyone to do my hair. Because the feeling of tangled hairs being pulled out of my scalp, wasn't pleasant. However, after 5 minutes of brushing I think the tangles are finally all clear, thank goodness. Now it's time for the scary part, the 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏 hair design part. They already decided as a group on their design for my hair, but they also wanted to have some fun with my hair. From different braids, to buns, they gave me dreadlocks for the heck of it. It didn't look good. They gave me the 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏, literally her hairstyle on my head, which she was happy to see. Heck, they gave me 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗟𝗏's hairstyle, which was kinda painful. How the heck does she deal with it? Until it was about 7 minutes until the festival started and they did the hairstyle they all agreed to. Once they were finished, the girls then walked over to see me from the front. They couldn't help but smile. DMN girls. 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗟𝗘 cheered. Yeah, it looks fantastic. 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃 cheered. It does look nice, 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 commented. It's amazing. 𝗬𝗧𝗟𝗑 exclaimed. We did a public service today. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗛 said with a proud smile. I quickly pulled out my phone so I can see myself. It's a pull-through crown braid. Yes, I know different hairstyles, but I like it. I said. It was nice to look at, even if it's an extremely formal hairstyle for girls. But who cares? He likes it. All the girls cheered. Will Class 1A head onto center stage? Mr. Aizawa asked. We stood up and began walking towards the center stage, but I had one thing to ask first. Hey, 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏, 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃, 𝗬𝗧𝗟𝗑. I asked. What is it, Midoriya? 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏 asked. It's now or never. Do you guys want to do my hair again sometime? I asked while pointing to my hair. Their eyes lit up with excitement. Yes. They all exclaimed. I smiled at their excitement. Thanks, I owe you one. I normally wouldn't 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃 about my hair, but if it makes them happy doing it, then I'm fine with it. Let me hear ya scream as our students make their way to the main stage. President Mike yelled into the intercom. Thank goodness Mr. Aizawa can turn down his audio. This first group are no strangers to the spotlight. You know them for withstanding a villain attack, the dazzling students lighting up your TVs with solid gold skills. Get on with it already. The hero course students of Class 1A. President Mike yelled as all of us walked onto the stage. Thank goodness. I was wondering if his showboating would end. Next up, the class who was there as well during the villain attack, but showed equal amounts of bravery and talent. Class 1B. President Mike yelled as Class 1B followed right behind us. Next up, General Studies classes C, D, and E. President Mike yelled with lower volume. Glad to see he's not biased at all. Support classes F, G, and H. And finally, business classes I, J, and K. Give it up for all of you. A's first-year contestants. Phew, glad all of that is over. We all got into our respective classes and waited for the official of the sports festival to come out. Oh no. Now, the introductory speech. Midnight yelled in her racy costume. Amazing, one hero said. Seriously, the other years don't know what they're missing. Another said. Oh, keep it in your all of you. I said just loud enough for them to hear. Geez, what a drag. Silence, everyone. Midnight yelled, as for the student pledge, we have 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃 Midoriya. Midnight yelled. 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃, 𝗧𝗏𝗃𝗃 Midoriya, woo. I exclaimed while pushing 𝗵𝗃𝗃 forward. Why the F are you pushing me, nerd? 𝗵𝗃𝗃 asked. Just do me this solid, I'll buy you some cake at the place down in Hoso later. I bartered. Fine, it better be triple chocolate. He said. With vanilla frosting to balance. I know, I've been to your birthday parties before, and you always get the same thing. Now go, you're making me look bad. I said. It seems we have a substitution. Katsuki 𝗵𝗃𝗃 will be taking the pledge. She said as 𝗵𝗃𝗃 got onto the podium and faced the microphone. I was a bit thirsty, so I decided to take a drink. Big mistake. I just want to say that I'm going to win. He said. I spat out my water as everyone started to boo 𝗵𝗃𝗃. It's not my fault, all of you are just stepping stones for my victory. Everyone got angry and wanted to take him down. As 𝗵𝗃𝗃 was coming back, Ito was flailing his arms in shocked anger. It was extremely hilarious. Midoriya. Why are you laughing? 𝗬𝗧𝗧𝗏 asked. It's because, 𝗵𝘃𝗧𝗏 said things, and everyone was angry, and 𝗧𝗏 is flailing, it's funny. I said while reeling in my laughter. Without further ado, it's time for us to get started. The first game is what you call a qualifier. This is where you begin feeling the pain. She said while flicking her WHP, the first faithful game of the festival. She said while a wheel was rolling, what could it be? She asked rhetorically, before the wheel stopped on obstacle course, ta-da. So it's an obstacle course. Well, looks like I'm going to Hosu faster than I thought. All 11 classes will participate in this treacherous contest. The track is 4 kilometers around the outside of the stadium. She said before holding up her flogger that thing still creeps me out. I don't want to restrain anyone, at least in this game, she said before her lips, as long as you don't leave the course, you're free to do whatever. Your heart 𝗳𝗬𝗧𝗏. She said before pointing us towards the door. Now then, take your places, contestants. I made my way towards the door and standing right in front of it. My plan. Run as fast as I can. 100% speed, 10% one for all, let's see how fast I can go. The first green light went off. Then the second, then the third. Begin. I wasted no time in sprinting down the track. Immediately leaving the others behind me as I sped past the door. This is 2EA** boom. ** I spoke too soon. A bunch of robots, like the ones at the sports festival appeared. Man, that's gonna 𝗧𝗃𝗁. For the others. I ran past them and ignored the first obstacle, and decided to leave them to it. The next obstacle was a giant chasm. Yeah, boring. I stopped running to stretch my legs. 𝗵𝘃𝗏 has sped past the first and second obstacles in a matter of seconds. 𝗵𝘃𝗏𝗺 yelled. Wait until he sees this. I said as I jumped as high as I could, but thanks to the extra ton of weight, I sank like a rock onto another plateau. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Once I made it across, I began running again. Incredible. 𝗵𝘃𝗏𝗺 is clearing this challenge like it was nothing. This is almost unfair. 𝗵𝘃𝗏𝗺 yelled, thoughts. His speed is unstoppable, and we haven't even seen his strength yet. Mr. Aizawa said. Because it's kinda nothing to me, I would slow down, but that's a drag, and besides cake, delicious cake is waiting in Hosu, and I want to go there as fast as I could. The final obstacle was a minefield. I just jumped over it. I could just rush through it and get through it that easily, but I still want to cement some challenge for the others. Once I cleared the minefield, I zoomed into the stage for my win. The winner is Izuku Midoriya. 𝗵𝘃𝗏𝗺 yelled. Yeah, who cares, cake? Oh, wait, first things first. I rushed over towards the back wall and jumped to the teacher's viewing booth. Hey mom, all might. I'm going to that new cake place in Hosu real quick. Want anything? I asked. Shouldn't you wait for the festival to be over? All Might in his skinny form asked. I have like 30-ish minutes before everyone gets here. So with how fast I can get there, which is about 3 minutes. Then the amount of time it'll take for me to buy the cakes and taste all the free samples I can, and come back here, that's more than enough time. I said, besides mom can text me telling me to come back. I said before pulling out my phone, so cake? I asked. Before All Might can say anything else, mom handed me a stack of yen. I want a lemon cake. Midoriya. All Might said. He's right, he ran 4 kilometers in a matter of minutes. Mom said. All Might looked hesitant, before handing me money as well. I'll take a vanilla cake. Cool. I said while grabbing the money. Anyone else? I asked. Well, since you're offering. Snipe said, I'll take a lemon cake as well. Chocolate for me. 13 said. Everyone else said no. Alright, anyone know what present Mike wants? I'd go ask him myself, but he's loud. I asked. He likes strawberry shortcake. And Mr. Aizawa likes an espresso cake. I typed all of that into my phone. Alright, see you all in 30-ish minutes. I yelled before taking off to Hosu. I might have meandered a bit, and I also might have been jumping off roofs to get there. But it's effective. I'm practically the 𝗧𝗵𝗲. I looked over towards the source of the noise to see a dude in armor and engines jutting on the shoulders. Hey, it's 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 bro. I probably shouldn't bother him, boss, screw it. I began following him, as he jumped onto a roof a few houses away, before diving into an alleyway. I followed him to find, oh no, the hero killer. I've finally found you, hero killer. 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 yelled. Is he planning to take him on himself? Yeah, no. 𝗳𝗲𝗏 would be crushed if his brother was killed. I jumped down from the building and was right in front of them. Who are you, kid? The hero killer asked. Hi, I was in the neighborhood, and I thought I'd stop by and make sure a certain 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 didn't get himself killed by taking on someone way out of his league. I said. Get out of here, it's 𝗬𝗏. Hush, we're talking here. I said, which caused the hero killer to laugh. You got guts, kid, now do as 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 tells you. And ◧. When I rushed over and punched him in the face, he was out like a light. I wiggled my hand. If anyone asks, you did that. How did? Who are you? 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 asked. So your bro didn't tell you about me? What a jerk. I said as I helped him up. I'm 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗵. But I would prefer that name sticks between us. I said as I looked over at the hero killer, you should probably cuff him and call the police. I said. Alright. He exclaimed before dialing the police on his phone. When he finished, he went to question me. So how did you find me? Shouldn't you be in school? He asked. I finished the first part of the sports festival. I'm here to check out that new cake place. I said, I heard a Zoom and I saw you, and I wanted to say hi. Then I saw you were going to fight the hero killer without any source of backup. I said before smacking him upside the helmet. Turns out idiocy runs in the family. Wait, you said you know my brother? He asked. Yeah, 𝗃𝗏𝗧𝗏. He's a bit of a loud mouth and a pain, but he's a nice kid. I said before saying at my phone, no text yet. Anyway, the last thing I wanted is for 𝗳𝗏𝗏 to hear that you got hurt during your fight against the hero killer. He would probably be crushed, and even more likely, went on a revenge-filled quest to fight him himself and probably lose. I said before I shrugged. Anyway, give your bro a call. Well, watch the festival before you call him. The last thing he wants is to be distracted by a call from his brother during a round or something. I said before turning to walk away. Wait. He called out. I'm kinda on the clock here. I muttered. Thank you. He said. You're welcome. Now this never happened. The last thing I want is to go to jail. If you have to report it, say I was given permission, I was at the wrong place, wrong time. I said. He agreed as I sped off to that cake place. I'm back. I yelled as I skidded to a stop, carrying a bag full of plastic containers with the holy majesty that is cakes. Where have you been? Midnight yelled as I handed her a container. Cake shop in Hosu, I got you this so you won't yell at me. I said as she took the container along with the bag. Aside from the 3 containers I have for Bakugu, myself, and someone else. The containers have the names of their recipients, so there's no way she can confuse them. Give these to the teachers, bribery and all that. I accept, now. On to the next match. Midnight yelled, as the wheel of events spun ever so fast, before landing on cavalry battle. Allow me to explain. The participants will form teams of 2 to 4 people as they see fit. In theory, it's basically the same as a regular playground game. But there is one difference. She said before pointing at us, each player has been assigned a point value based on the results from the obstacle course. Midnight explained. I get it, a point-based system like the entrance exams. That seems pretty simple. 𝗧𝗏 said. So that means each team will have a different point value based on which student are on it. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 explained. Aha. Ashido agreed. Maybe you should shut up and let me explain things to you. Midnight snapped, before regaining her composure. Now then. The point. Assignments go up by increments of 5, starting from the bottom. For example, 42nd place is worth 5 points, and 41st is worth 10. And the point value assigned to the first place contestant is 10 million. Midnight yelled. Your math is a little off there, Midnight. I commented. I could just feel everyone looking at me with hunger for my points. That's right. It's survival of the fittest, with a chance for those at the bottom to overthrow the top. Midnight exclaimed. Good luck with that. I said with a smile. It's kinda strong not to give it my all right now, considering if I go below 100% I'll probably collapse onto the ground. Well, this is hardcore training. First years. These are the rules you must abide by. The game itself will last 15 minutes. Individual point values will be added together to reach your team total. Everyone will know how much you're worth thanks to your headbands. Swipe as many headbands as you can to raise your team's score. She explained, stolen headbands must be worn from the neck up. So the more you steal, the harder it'll be to manage them. And another thing, even if your headband gets stolen or your team falls down, you can keep playing until time's up. She finished. It's anyone's game, then. 𝗳𝗲𝗧𝗛𝗏 said. And since there are 42 contestants, there'll be 10 or 12 teams fighting on field the entire time. Sato pointed out. So, if you lose your headband at the beginning, you have more time to make up a plan. Ishido stated. I dunno, Mina. Maybe we should wait and see how the teams turn out before we start strategizing. Azui said in thought. This is going to be rough. You may use your quirks as much as you like. But there are still rules. Midnight said, make a team fall on purpose and I'll slap you with a red card. You'll be disqualified. She yelled before a timer appeared on the board. Now, you've got 15 minutes to build your teams. I recommend you get started. Okay, 2 to 4 team members per group. Considering I weigh a ton and then some, I can't be the rider, so I'll need someone light, not to mention 𝗵𝗃𝗏. A familiar voice behind me said while tugging my shirt. I turned to see. Hey, 𝗳𝗃𝗏. I said, what's up? I asked. Can I join your team? She asked. Sure, what's your quirk? I asked. It's called mushroom. I scatter spores all over the field and in turn they grow mushrooms. She explained. You might have just won us the game without my help. I said, that's great, I don't want to carry the team. Well, I will be carrying the team, I'll be carrying you. But you'll be putting in a lot of the work. I said. Why, you're not going to do anything? She asked. Well, yeah, I'm only going to help if I absolutely have to. I've had enough spotlight for now, considering I've finished the obstacle course in a few minutes. It does that to people. I said, wait. I almost forgot. I exclaimed as I picked up my bag and held out a cake. It was designed like a red spotted mushroom. I got this for you when I made my run to 𝗳𝗧. Wait, 𝗳𝗧? She asked. Yeah. I asked. Didn't the hero killer just get caught a few minutes ago? She asked. Man, news spreads fast. I muttered, okay, I'm going to be straight with you. I said before leaning in. I may or may not have punched him in the face and knocked him out instantly, and I also may or may not have gave the whole credit to 𝗵𝗃𝗏. Did you say 𝗵𝗃𝗏? I tensed up as I turned to face 𝗳𝗃𝗏 of 𝗏𝗏. Hey 𝗳𝗃𝗏, what's up? I asked with a nervous smile. What about my brother? He asked. We were discussing how awesome he was when he caught the hero killer. You should be proud. In fact, I bet he's watching right now. Make him proud. I said. He looked at me for a few seconds, before nodding. I see, as expected of the hero 𝗵𝗃𝗏. He boasted before walking away. Phew. I muttered, so anyway, cake. I said as I handed it to her. She looked at it before smiling. Thank you. She said with a smile. You're welcome. Now time for the plan. Okay, all you first years. I hope you're happy with your chosen teams. Present Mike yelled, let's get this party started. One final countdown before the game starts. Hold on tight and on my mark. I said as I pulled up my shirt to cover my mouth, use your quirk. Right. 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 said on my back with our 10,045 points. 3, 2, 1. Begin. Present Mike yelled. Now. I yelled as I began running multiple laps around the stage, all the while 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 is using her quirk to spread spores around. After the third lap, I stopped at our original position, just a few more seconds now, alright you can stop now 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏. I said. Everyone stopped covering their face and looked at me. What did you do? 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗛𝗍 asked. Why don't you come and find out? I asked. I rather not. 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗛𝗍 said as he sent an ice wave at me. I smashed it instantly, much to his somewhat surprise. What? Is that it? I asked as I glanced at the clock. 2 minutes have passed. Should I use it now? She asked. Wait until 12 minutes 30 seconds, then unleash the spores in front of us. How big can you grow them? I asked, 4 feet tall. She said. Dang, impressive, I thought mushrooms can only reach 6 inches. I asked. Depends on the mushroom dash, she said before something wet and pink swung past us. Tsu. It's 12:30, now. I said. She nodded and grew the mushroom to 4 feet. Intercepting Tsu's tongue. What the heck? Everyone from Class 1A asked. Class 1B isn't surprised. Alright, that'll buy us some time. I said, and you're getting a bunch of screen time. But wait until the secret weapon is unleashed. Looks like the wait will be over fast. 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏's team is zooming toward us and fast. They were a few feet away before they skidded to a stop. I'll be taking that now. He said. Get ready at 10 on the dot. I whispered before looking at 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏. Time to do what I do best, stall. That's some crew you got there. The genius, the eternal second place, and the moron. I taunted. What did you say? Kaminari yelled but 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏 stopped him. He's trying to rile us up. Yaoyorozu said, he's stalling. Now why would I do that? I asked as I looked at the time, 10 seconds left, I could very easily run out of this. Then do it. Yaoyorozu said 3, 2, 1, alright I will. I said as 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 used her quirk and the 4 of them were coughing, badly. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 what is this? Yaoyorozu asked while coughing. I looked at 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏, you want to showboat? I asked. Yes sure. She stuttered, that's my quirk. Mushroom. I can grow mushrooms anywhere so long the spores are there even in your own body. 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 said, don't worry, they'll get out soon, but after a little while, and with medicine recovery girl has. She explained. There you have it. I said while walking away, like I said I could very easily run out the clock but I've had enough of the spotlight for a while. After that interaction we have 9:30 to go, and the other teams are still gunning for me. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 decided to leave me alone and go for other teams. Makes sense, cement your advancement, especially with the ironclad teamwork. 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 and I hot tap. I turned to see that blonde guy, 𝗵𝗃𝗲. Oh no, 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 muttered. What? I asked. His quirk dash is copy. He said as he aimed his fingers at me. Teeth don't. I yelled but it was too late. He pulled back for a punch. 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 hold on tight. I yelled as I braced for impact. *boom. *gh. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 yelled as he gripped his hand. It was bright purple. What was that? He asked. My quirk. Why did you think I didn't want you to do it? I said, then I saw 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏's forehead. Where's our points? I asked. 𝗳𝗃𝗧𝗏 was shocked as she felt her forehead. They're gone. Oh no. Team Komori lost their points. Present Mike yelled. I looked frantically for any sign of the points and I found them. Uraraka's team has them. Fly! She yelled. Hee, thanks for the free win. She exclaimed as they took to the skies. You spored their 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁, right? I whispered. Yes. She said. All right, but I have to make it look convincing. I said as I rushed towards them, hold on. I yelled as I leaped up to them to grab the points. I was batted away by 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃𝗁's dark shadow. Your usage of your quirk was always a work of genius, I commented before plummeting back to the ground. However, now that the headband has traded owners, everyone has been following them. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 tried launching towards them, but was intercepted by Dark Shadow again. Meanwhile, Todoroki's team was coming over while coughing, in a last-ditch effort to get points. It was when they landed that the points shifted owners. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 grabbed it the moment they landed. Once he did, 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗟 grabbed him and they ran away. Now? 𝗳𝗏𝗃𝗃 asked. Hold the line. I said as I saw the time 45 seconds. Now? She asked. Hold it. I said as the time said 30 seconds. Now? She said with more urgency. Yes. I yelled as she activated her quirk, 𝗵𝘃𝗲, and everyone affected by the spores were coughing. They stopped. Hold on. I yelled as I used my speed to rush over and nab the headband right when Mike yelled time's up. In excitement, 𝗳𝗏𝗃𝗃 got off my shoulders and we high-fived. I told you would have stolen the show. I said with a smile. Your speed won us the battle. She said. Nah, had 𝗵𝗃𝗁 not copied my quirk we would have had that easily. I said, besides, that spore thing was amazing. Effective yet non-lethal. I sure as heck hope I don't run into you during the battle phase. I said. The feeling is mutual. She muttered. Now, let's take a look at who our top 4 teams are. Present Mike yelled, before listing off the rankings. In first place, Team 𝗵𝗃𝗁. In second place, Team 𝗵𝘃𝗲. In third place, Team Todoroki, and in fourth place Team Tetsu. What? It's Team Kendo. Where did that come from? He yelled, as Tetsu and his group looked confused. What team was that? I asked as I saw the aforementioned Class 1B president, with the purple-haired kid from a few weeks ago, 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁, and 𝗧𝗵𝗧𝗍𝗪. It has to be that purple-haired guy. Interesting. I wonder what his quirk is. Since there is only 14 students advancing, there will be the 2 students with the highest scores from the obstacle course. Midnight said. So that's Hananuki and 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃𝗁. Now, let's take an hour lunch break before we start the afternoon festivities. See you soon. Hey, Eraserhead. Let's grab some food. Present Mike said. I need a nap. Mr. Aizawa muttered such wise words. I could use a nap too. But I'm also hungry, and it's cake ti, Midoriya. I need to speak with you. Todoroki said with a serious tone and expression. Cake time can come later. The air was cold and tense. I was staring in the heterochromatic eyes of Shoto Todoroki. I don't know what's going on in his head. What could he want to talk to me about? When you used your quirk it felt familiar. The speed, the force, the strength, it felt familiar, like All Might's quirk. He said. CRP. Midoriya, tell me. He said as the room went quiet, are you really All Might's secret love child or something? All tension has left the room. That's what you wanted to talk to me about? I asked. Well, are you? He asked. I smacked him in the back of the head. Hell no. I yelled, you interrupted my lunch time, and more importantly, my cake time for this. I yelled. That's not all I wanted to say. Todoroki muttered. Does it involve genetics and All Might? I asked. No, well, genetics, yes. He said, my father is the hero in 𝗣𝗲𝗏, sure you've heard of him. Which means you're aware that he's the number 2 hero. By some sheer amount of bullshit he is. So if you're connected to the number 1 hero, All Might, in some way that would mean that I have even more reason to beat you. He said. I wanted to ask what he would gain by beating me, but I wanted him to keep going. My old man is ambitious. He aims for the top. He used his power to make a name for himself as a hero. But he was never able to best All Might, so the symbol of peace is living proof of his failure. He's still at it, though, trying to take down All Might. One way or another. He explained. I get the one-sided rivalry between All Might and Endeavor, but why tell me this? I asked. He then looked at me dead in the eyes. Have you ever heard of Quirk marriages? He asked. That cruel practice of having kids solely to make them have powerful quirks. I know it all too well. They became a problem in the first few generations after superpowers became widespread. There were those who sought out mates solely with the intention of creating powerful children. Many people were forced into relationships. They were simply viewed as old-fashioned arranged marriages. But, clearly, it was unethical. My father has not only a rich history of accomplishments, but plenty of money to throw at his problems. He said, he bought my mother's relatives to get his hands on her quirk. And now he's raising me to usurp All Might. I should have realized it earlier. It's so annoying. I refuse to be a tool for that scumbag. In every memory of my mother I only see her crying. I remember she called my left side unbearable, he said while he touched his scar on his eye, before she poured boiling water on my face. I shivered at the thought, but he kept going. That's why I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to show my old man what I was capable of doing. Without having to rely on his fire quirk. He said as he pulled down his hand, revealing eyes full of hatred, you see, I'm going to show him that I reject his power, and I can take first place without using it. That's stupid. I said. What? He asked, sounding offended. Look, I hate Endeavor as much as any other person with a brain. That dude was the main reason why taxes were so damn high. His reckless abandon for buildings as well as other places left my mom and I having to work to scrape by. However, your logic is flawed, not to mention you're underestimating me. I said, I'm here to win, so I can get cred with the pros, and go to become the #1 hero, so my mom can live the rest of her days in comfort. So if you think I'm going to lose to someone going at 50%, especially since I beat that same person with only 10%, then your logic is stupid. I said. Did you not oh, I listened to every word of what you said. I said, you got daddy issues, I do too. Had my dad not left to America like scumbag, maybe mom and I might have not needed to work so strong. But we can't change who the our dads are. What we can change is who our dads want us to become. I said. What? He asked. He wants you to become powerful so you can beat All Might and become #1 in his stead. Well, go up to his face, give him the big middle finger, and say, I'm not doing this for you, you scumbag, and walk away. I said, the path to your destination is never one way, or else the freeway would be loaded with traffic. To add on to that analogy, your life isn't his car to drive. It's yours, do things however the hell you want to. If he wants you to be a powerhouse, well say that, and go at it a different way. I said. But I don't want to use your fire quirk, sure whatever, I don't give a flip whether you do or not. But don't think of it as your scumbag of a dad's quirk, but yours. I said before walking away. Then I stopped a few feet away from the exit, and have you even talked to your mom? What? He asked. Have you even talked to your mom after the incident? I asked again. Well, no. He said. Then talk to her, considering she has many years to think on that incident, I'm sure she'll want to see you again. I said. That's the second lecture I've given Todoroki. Here's hoping at least one of them sticks. Anyway, it's cake time. Okay, which one of you jerks ate my cake? I asked as I looked at 1A and 1B accusingly. What makes you think it was us? They all asked in unison. Fine, no one wants to own up to it. Who ate it? I asked. It was the tape guy. She said instantly. Wow. Zero yelled. Thanks, I owe you one. I said before looking at him, you better hope we don't meet in the tournament, I will end you. Because no one interrupts cake time. I muttered as 𝗧𝗏 nodded. Good, now time for lunch. After eating in irritation after being denied my appealing cake, it was funfetti too. Anyway, we all reconvened to center stage. What the heck is this? What the heck are you six wearing? I asked as I saw all of the girls wearing cheerleader outfits. 𝗵𝗃 told us that Mr. 𝗧𝗏 wanted us to wear these. 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗛 said before pointing to the cheerleaders on the other side of the stadium, like them. Slap! I collided my hand straight onto my forehead. You know, for the #1 scorer in the midterms you're pretty naive. I said, you're the class president, for Pete's sake you'd think Mr. 𝗧𝗏 would have told you about that, would he? Those are the cheerleaders they ported from America. I asked. How did you know that? 𝗵𝗃𝗃 asked. I overheard it from Mom yesterday. She has a tendency to talk about things going on in school. I said. Also, why do the American girls have such big noses? Realization dawned on her as she tore apart her pom-poms. I'm going to murder him. Please don't. Murder is a door you don't want to open. I said, anyway, it's kinda too late to go back now. Midnight is about to have us dash. After that weird interactinin, Present Mike announced the final event tournament of Power Thing. It was a one-on-one competition, the only difference it was a stick fighting competition. Everyone was confused by what the heck is a stick fighting competition. Midnight was willing to explain. Basically, you are given two options between a bow staff and two smaller staves for dual wielding. Quirks are obviously allowed, but your only method in terms of physical attacks are with your weapons. I like that idea. It makes people think of how to use their quirks with conjunction to their weapons, and it's convenient. I practiced stick fighting when I was younger because I was bored one summer. It also gives people without combat-oriented quirks a chance to win. Come closer and draw lots to see who you're up against. Then enjoy the pleasure of the recreational games before we start. The 16 finalists have the option of participating in those activities or sitting out to prepare for battle. I'm sure you all want to conserve your stamina. She said before walking towards me. I'll start with the first place team. The first round matchup is as follows. Me versus Todoroki. Well, ain't that a kick in the teeth? Ida versus Kaminari. Bakugo versus 𝗧𝗏. Kendo versus Shiozaki. Itake versus Yaoyorozu. Ashido versus Shinso. Setsuna versus Tokoyami. For the final match, Hananuki versus Kirishima. Okay. Let's pause for a momentary interlude. Before the battles begin, it's time for some pulse-pounding side games. Present Mike yelled. I'm going to pass, too much work. I instead headed outside to prepare myself for my battle against Todoroki. Since I can only use my quirk for speed as well as how strong I swing my staves, it basically makes barely any difference on how I would have gone with this battle. However, it's Todoroki I'm thinking about. It's a toss-up whether he actually listened to my words and is considering going all out, or if he'll just use his ice. Even with his ice, what will he do? It's not like I can't smash through the ice, but it's what he'll do after that matters. He could either jump through the smashed ice wave and attack, that, or he could send another one after me. Besides, I haven't picked up dial-wield staves in a long time. You. A deep voice said, oh great. Endeavor is here. Yes. I asked. You're 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃 correct? He asked. Yes. I answered. And you are fighting my son, correct? He asked. Yes. Is there a point I'm missing here? I asked, trying to sound as unsarcastic as possible, which didn't work at all. Steal your tongue. Anyway, my son is in a rebellious state at the moment. He said. Rebellious doesn't even cover it. I've seen your power, resembles a certain symbol of peace. Are you two related? He asked. No. I said simply, our quirks just so happen to be near the same. Strength and speed. I said. I glossed over the whole barely any HP part of it. I see. Well, my son is destined to succeed me, and overtake that fool as the symbol of peace in my stead. He said, which means he'll have to beat you to do that. Yeah, good luck with that. I said simply before standing up, good luck getting him to do that for you. What do you mean by that? He asked as I felt the air get hotter. Look, he might become number one, however, there is no way in heck he'll do it for you. I said before walking away, do keep that in mind. I walked inside the stadium before he could respond to my statements. Man, what a pain. Would Midoriya and Todoroki please head to the stage? Mr. Aizawa said, sounding completely over this whole thing. You know what, same, I could use a nap right now. But I won't get my nap until I win this whole thing or lose immediately. Honestly, I'm weighing my options. No, I need to meet 𝗧𝗏 in the tournament so I can avenge my cake. Or at least beat Todoroki, then I can consider bailing so I can nap. Todoroki and I stood on center stage, and we were presented with our options of bow staff or dial-wield staves. I chose the dual-wield, so did Todoroki. After that we separated to opposite sides of the stage. So what do you plan to do? I asked. You'll find out. He said, that's a good sign. Begin. Present Mike yelled. Todoroki opened up with an ice wave. I was half tempted to smash it, but I decided around it in a flash. I was behind him when the ice wave reached higher than the roof of the stadium. Holy SHT, dude, that could have hit me. I said as he flinched to look at me. Geez, have some respect. I said as I rushed over to smash the whole ice wave. If the crowd was shocked before then, they were speechless when I smashed it completely. Now where were we? He was shocked, but for a moment, as expected. He said before he used ice to slide towards me. Now this is where it gets fun. He launched himself off his ice slide and took a powerful swing at me. I stood my ground and blocked his hit. A mini shock wave erupted from our collision. Todoroki jumped back before sending another ice wave at me. I waited for it to get close before smashing it to pieces. Once the ice shattered, he jumped towards me. I thought me might do that. I swiftly dodged out of the way, but he used his ice to surge back to me. He took a swing, but I blocked it again. I must say, you're pretty good at using your ice. I said, but you're not going to win at this rate. In all honesty, I could have eliminated you like 30 seconds ago, but I wanted to see what you would do. Turns out to be a complete waste of time. I said as I knocked him towards the back of the stage. He used his ice to stop himself. Then why don't you finish me? He asked. Because then this whole match would have been a waste of time. I said as I rushed towards him, but stopped a foot before him. Whatever happened to that killer instinct? They always win no matter what attitude. This is boring me. He was angry now. Why are you doing this? Did my dad talk to you? That man could go SCK a railroad spike for all I care. It's you I'm worried about, idiot. I said as I whacked him upside the head. Forget that sorry excuse of a human being, and worry about you. Last I checked, he isn't fighting me. Not that he would win against me, but that's not the point. It's you, your power, your fight, your everything. I yelled. Todoroki tensed up, so give that man the middle finger, and fight me with your power. I yelled as I pulled back for the finisher. Then it happened. Steam was emanating from his left side, as flames erupted from Todoroki. I jumped out of the way and reached the other end of the stage. About time. I said. You're helping your opponent. You fool. He said as I see the ice on his left side melt away. Even though you want to win this battle. Now which one of us is screwing around? The flame tornado faded away, revealing a determined Todoroki. I want it, too. I'll be a hero. Attaboy. I said as I dropped my staves. Well, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I might as well go all out too. I said as I pulled up my sleeves, revealing the weights. Midnight was the first to react. Izuku Midoriya, if you take those off you won't advance to the next round. She said. Worth it. I said as I took off my arm weights, then my leg weights. I then tossed them behind me. A dust cloud floated around the impact zone. Arm and leg weights. Todoroki asked. 250 kg each, adding up to about 1,000 kilograms, or a ton. I said as I stretched my body, and man does it feel good. I yelled as I took a large leap, causing me to launch right up to half the bleachers. So let's go, show me your full power. I said. Todoroki nodded and sent a massive ice wave like at the beginning. We clearly said F the rules at this point. I leapt over it and began flying towards him. He then used his fire to send a massive flame blast towards me. All the while I dropped my staves and began to use a full-powered punch. Then 5 concrete pillars intercepted our attacks. The combined force of our attacks created a massive explosion along with an even bigger shockwave. The dust cloud was massive and covered the stage. What happened just now? What the heck is up with your students? 𝗵𝘃𝗃 asked. The air around the ring had been thoroughly cooled down, and then rapidly expanded when heated up. Mr. Aizawa said. Wait, that's what caused the explosion. How hot did that fire get? Geez, I can't see a thing. 𝗵𝘃𝗃 yelled, is the match still going on, or what, huh? The crowd has been in suspense long enough. I flicked my finger, causing the dust to fly away, revealing an unconscious Todoroki over my shoulder. Technically I lost because I broke the rules specifically against me, so, Todoroki advances. I said. How? Midnight asked. Simple, you should have added more concrete. I said, I broke through those 5 easily, and before I made it to Todoroki I toned down my power so I won't kill him. He may be all-powerful, but he's still a kid. I said before handing Todoroki to 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏. In a way, I'm glad I broke the rules. Tournaments are such a drag. I muttered before picking up my weights and putting them back on. But man, what a powerful boy. If I'm not careful around him, I might actually lose to him. Keyword being might. I walked up the stairs and headed to the Class 1A spectator booth. Once I was there I was met with looks of shock, confusion, and one anger from Bikugu before it cooled down completely, and he looked away from me. What? I asked. Did you seriously have weights on the whole time? Kaminari yelled. Well, I had them for about 2 weeks. I said, the teachers agreed this would be a proper disadvantage for me, or else I would have beaten you all by a country mile. However, in turn of doing this I got stronger and faster as a result. So win-win. I said with a smile. Be but 1 ton. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 asked. Yeah, though technically I didn't need to remove them. I didn't want to be a hypocrite and tell Todoroki to go all out while I'm being weighed down. Besides, I kinda didn't want to keep going. Tournaments are such a drag. I muttered before looking at Kaminari. Isn't your match next? I asked. Alright. See you all. He yelled before running off. I took a deep breath and leaned into my chair. This is going to be a long tournament. Izuku. I shot up and turned. Mom. I asked as I walked over to her, what's wrong? Did something happen? I asked. Why you lost? She yelled while crying. I thought something bad happened. I rolled my eyes and hugged her. Mom, it's alright. This tournament was too much work anyway. I said as she looked at me, her eyes red from her short but powerful crying fit. Besides, he went all out, so did I, it was fair. She laughed. You were always lazy. She quipped. I prefer to call it, conserving my energy. I countered, then I remembered, that reminds me, did you agree to the weights? I asked. She tensed up. Oh, look at the time, gotta go, bye. She said before running off. Should have known. Well, it doesn't matter ultimately. I then felt a bunch of stairs behind me. What now? I asked. Your mom works here. Sue asked. Yeah, she does. I said, that's the reason why the food is so good. I taste no difference. She said. I'll pretend I didn't hear that. I said before sitting back down. Anyway, the match is starting. It was one-sided. Kaminari used his indiscriminate shock, but 𝗳𝗍 jumped out of the way of it. It's amazing how much range it has on the ground, but not in the air. Once Kaminari was dummified, used his bow staff to shove him out of bounds. Well, I was expecting some sort of fight from Kaminari. I muttered, but 𝗧𝗏 and 𝗵𝗃𝗲's match is first. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗲, 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏 and avenge my cake. Hey. 𝗧𝗏 yelled. I don't need your orders. I was planning on doing it anyway. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 growled before stomping off. Once they were gone, Yaoyorozu asked the all-important question, why are you so obsessed with the cake? She asked. I just shrugged. I just wanted to see how far I can run that joke into the ground. I said simply, and I spent good money on that cake, but I do have a question, Midoriya. A voice said it was 𝗳𝗍. Yes, what is it? I asked. I would like to speak with you in private. He said. Sure. I asked as I got up to follow him. I have a bad feeling about this. We went far from the 1A spectator seats so 𝗳𝗍 and I could talk, so what did you need? I asked. I talked to my brother. He said. Great, what did he say? I asked. He said how proud he was that I made it to the final event. But, he also told me to tell you something. He said. Which is? I asked. He wanted me to invite you to a family dinner. He said. I don't know why, but he wants you there. Probably about the hero killer, but it'd be rude to reject, and free food. Sure, can I invite Mom? I asked. By all means. He said, however, did you two meet before? He asked. I'll explain at the dinner, makes it easier for me to not explain it multiple times. I said, when is this dinner? I asked. Tomorrow, at 5:30. He said. 5:30, got it. Alright, we'll be there. Anything else? I asked. That would be all. He said before walking back to the spectator seats. Well, that went well. Once we made it back, we saw 𝗵𝗃𝗃 stick the bow staff in his mouth, and then he used his quirk to blast towards 𝗧𝗏 to bat him out his bow staff. It took one hit, but it was all that mattered. Such brutality. Tokoyami muttered. Yeah. Uraraka responded. Par from the course. I said while shrugging, and pulling out a book. He's basically known for not holding back at all. However, he could be a little nicer. I said as the next two combatants entered the stage. Kendo and Shiozaki. Now this will be an interesting one. How so? 𝗳𝗍 asked. They both use their quirks for offense. It'll be interesting how they adapt when a weapon gets thrown into the mix. I said, Kendo's fighting style is mainly hand-to-hand, and Shiozaki uses her vines to attack and capture. However, they're supposed to attack mainly with the weapons, and even with that there are stipulations. Like Kaminari's indiscriminate shock. So we'll have to see. I said. Kendo grabbed a bow staff and held it with one gigantized hand, leaving the other one for I assume defense, while 𝗧𝗏 got a bow staff as well. A lot of bow staffs. What happened to dual wielding? I mean, sure, with a bow staff you sacrifice speed and mobility for power, and it makes sense given their quirks, especially Shiozaki's with her range. Man, that hurt. I heard a voice said. I turned to see a lightly bandaged 𝗧𝗏. I smiled. That's what we called karmic retribution. The cake has been avenged. I said as he glared at me. Will you stop talking about the cake? I said I was sorry. 𝗧𝗏 said. Actually, you didn't. I said. You really didn't. 𝗬 replied. Oh, I'm sorry. He muttered. Pay me the money the cake costs, and we'll be square. I said. Sure, how much do they cost? 𝗧𝗏 asked. 1,500 yen per. I said. 1,500. 𝗧𝗏 asked. Makes sense, that cake was pretty DMN good. 𝗵𝗃𝗃 said. So pay up. I said. Fine. he said as he paid me 1,500 yen. Oh, I lied by the way, it costed like 700. I said with a smirk. What? He asked. Thanks for the money, 𝗧𝗍𝗧. I said, which got laughter from 𝗵𝘃𝗲 and 𝗧𝗑𝗧𝗏. He got you good. 𝗧𝗑𝗧𝗏 said, which caused 𝗧𝗍𝗧 to collapse into his chair with a groan. Cake time has been avenged. On to the battle, and it was pretty intense. Kendo rushed forward with her enlarged hands for both offense and defense, while Shiozaki stood her ground for defense. When Kendo took a swing, Shiozaki blocked it while using her vines to try and disarm her interesting strategy. But an obvious one, Kendo gripped her hair vines and tossed her behind her and rushed after her. Shiozaki was quick to get up and parried her swing with one of her own, which Kendo blocked. Each exchange has been met with dodged and blocks. However, Shiozaki decided it was time to end this. She used her vines to grip Kendo's arm, but Kendo was much stronger than Shiozaki. She gripped the vines that held her arm, however instead of throwing her behind her, she lifted her up and shoved her out of bounds. Oh, wait a minute. It's 𝗧𝗧𝗏 and Yaoyorozu's turn. Man, I'm conflicted. I like Yaoyorozu, she's one of my better friends, but I also like 𝗧𝗏𝗏 as well. Guess I'll have to root for both. They both took the stage. After grabbing their weapons, they both prepped themselves for battle. It was one-sided in Yaoyorozu's favor. I heard she has experience fighting with weapons, and 𝗧𝗏𝗏 does not. She was knocked out of the ring after a few seconds. I should see if she's alright. I headed down to Recovery Girl's office, after hearing that Ishido stepped off the stage on her own accord and ◵𝗪𝗀 advances. Once I entered, 𝗧𝗏𝗏 was getting healed up. Hey, how you holding up? I asked. She shook her head. I couldn't do anything. She muttered. Yeah, because that was a field you weren't experienced in. I said before sitting beside her. There are many different fighting styles out there. This one just so happened to be one. Yaoyorozu was a MSTR of. Really? 𝗧𝗏𝗏 asked. Yeah, she can literally make weapons for her to use. It'd be stupid for her to not be good at using them. I said before lightly tapping her forehead, so don't get so bummed out over this loss. Besides, no one can be as good at using weapons in battle like her or me. I said. 3, 2, 1, can you teach me? She asked. There's the ask, I don't know, would that even work with your quirk? I asked. I can make it work. Besides, I need a different combat style. My quirk isn't offensive, aside from the throat thing. She said. Well, stop thinking that offensive quirks are everything. I said. You're one to talk. Recovery Girl commented. Hush. I snapped at her. Look, offense is cool and all. But all that matters is capturing the villains and helping those in need. Off the top of my head, you can make edible mushrooms. Boom, world hunger eliminated. You can grow a mushroom on an enemy's gun. Boom, stopped a hostage situation. You can even block the door to an enemy's escape. I said, your quirk isn't offensive, that much is certain, aside from the throat thing, which can and is a viable strategy. So don't think of yourself as an offensive hero. If those heroes out there don't think that, then they clearly don't have their eyes on the big picture. She stared at me for a few seconds before hugging me. Thanks. She muttered. I smiled and patted her head. No problem. Now let's go. What a fantastic match. Tokoyami's relentless onslaught earned him the advancement. President Mike yelled. We're missing all the action. 𝗧𝗏𝗏 and I parted ways so we could go to our respective booths. Once we made it back, Hananuki had Kirishima submerged in liquefied stage, and was declared unable to battle. Man, I came back to a one-sided battle. I asked as I collapsed onto my seat. Oh well, I'll watch the highlight reel of Tokoyami's battle. So the fighters were given a 15-minute break before the second round started. And to our surprise, Todoroki is back. Oh, you're back, so I didn't punch you too strong. I commented. Hey, I really respect what you did back there. Thanks. For what? Todoroki asked. For using your fire. For listening to my yelling-filled speech. I said. He didn't respond, and looked away. Better than saying no. After 15 minutes Todoroki and Ida headed back down to the stage. Ida landed some good hits, but was frozen by Todoroki. He didn't use his flames again. Then again, the situation didn't call for it. So it's fine in that regard. But still that's a tough break for Ida. Next match was between Bikugu and Kendo. Kendo held strong, but Bikugu's swap from bow staff to dual wielding, as well as his unrelenting force earned him the edge with his flurry of swings. Kendo was pushed back and was shoved out of bounds. Next battle was between Yaoyorozu and 𝗫𝗄. Which reminds me, what's that guy's quirk? I asked Ishido. I don't know. One moment I said something to him, the next I walked off the stage. My mind was foggy during the time. She answered. Said something that must be what triggers his quirk. Mind control. Or something along those lines. I suggested. Most likely. 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃 said. It didn't matter though. Yaoyorozu did the exact same thing Ishido did and walked off the stage. I tried to tell her, but she didn't want help. She said. Should I check on her? Maybe I should. Oh Yamamo, you're back. Jiro said. She sat in her seat. His quirk is powerful. I expected nothing less than that. She said. No, she's crushed by her loss, I can tell. The Yaoyorozu I know wouldn't let something as petty as this get to her. I'll have to talk to her in private when I get the chance. If I call her out right now, she'll just dismiss it and say nothing is wrong. Hananuki used his quirk on 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃, but he gave Dark Shadow his staff so he can fight in his stead. Hananuki's quirk is powerful, but he's not fast. 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃's Dark Shadow defeated Hananuki. It just took a while. The final four have been decided. Bikugu vs Todoroki, and 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃 vs 𝗫𝗄. Bikugu and Todoroki's fight was intense. The most intense match of the tournament. Todoroki used his ice to start off, but Bikugu smashed it after a few explosive swings. There were a few more exchanges like that, all the while Bikugu was clambering for Todoroki's fire. But he wouldn't use it. 𝗬𝗲𝗧𝗟𝗘. I'll tell you what'll happen if you make a fool out of me. I'll kill you. Bikugu yelled. I don't want there to be any doubt that I'm one of the best students at the festival. That's only possible if you come at me as strong as you can. There's no point if you don't fight me with the same power you used against that nerd. If you don't want to win this, why are you even here? He yelled before rushing back towards Todoroki. Show everyone you're trying to destroy me. Todoroki's still not using it. What a pain, looks like I'll have to step in again. Hey! Todoroki! I yelled, which got his attention. Don't play favorites now. Do your best, and go at it as strong as you can. Bikugu dropped his staff as he launched himself into the air as Todoroki caused flames to erupt out of his left side. Todoroki aimed his flamed-up hand at Bikugu while Bikugu was spinning around. They both abandoned the rules, so really it comes down to who gets beaten first. As Bikugu was sailing closer, Todoroki dropped his left hand and his flames. Howitzer impact. Bikugu yelled as he hit Todoroki's ice barrier, causing it, and the ice around him to be destroyed in an array of explosions. The round was over, and Bikugu won the match, but he wasn't satisfied. He slowly walked over to an unconscious Todoroki and wanted him to get up, but Midnight used her quirk to knock him out before he can hurt Todoroki anymore. She then declared Bikugu the winner of the match. The crowd was speechless from the display and the aftermath of the tournament. They were both carried off the ring, and it was then 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃 and 𝗫𝗄's match. Since 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃 knew 𝗫𝗄's quirk, it was a one-sided fight due to 𝗫𝗄 not having any combat experience in terms of weapon use. So the final match was Bikugu vs 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃. 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃 and Bikugu met on the field. Bikugu looking angrier than ever. I felt bad for 𝗳𝗏𝗵𝗃. He was completely destroyed in the final match due to a off Bikugu and his barrage of explosive swings. Bikugu won the sports festival, but Bikugu was still not satisfied. Todoroki didn't want to spend more time in the sports festival anymore, so he froze 𝗫𝗀𝗧𝗏 for the third place medal. Anyway, 𝗵𝘃𝗲 was angry and yelling at 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗛𝗍 who stood at the third place podium. So much so that 𝗵𝘃𝗲 had to be muzzled on the post so the crowd of heroes and children won't hear his 𝗳𝗍𝗪𝗧filled rant to 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏. All Might was in charge of present the medals, and after a miscue with Midnight, he present the medals to the three finalists. 𝗳𝗏𝗧𝗏 and 𝗃𝗁𝗵𝗃 took their medals, and I assume advice with no trouble. Then it was 𝗵𝘃𝗲's turn. He was growling at All Might while he held the gold medal. After removing the muzzle, 𝗵𝘃𝗲 started talking. All Might, he growled, winning first place this way doesn't prove that I'm the best one here. Even if the world considers me the winner, I refuse to accept it like this. He yelled, which caused All Might to flinch in fear. All Might then cleared his throat, ahem, in a world where we're constantly being compared to one another, there are very few who can keep their eyes focused on the tip spot. You're one of them. He said, sugarcoating this whole thing for the press. I'm actually proud. All Might then held out the medal for 𝗵𝘃𝗲. Please accept this medal. Even if you have to think of it as a scar. Something you'll never forget. I don't want that piece of garbage. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 yelled. Come on now. All Might insisted. Get that trash off of me, you idiot. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 yelled before All Might just placed it on 𝗵𝘃𝗲's teeth, where he grinded his teeth on the neck part of the medal. After that interaction, All Might thanked us for participating, and we can finally go home. Mr. Aizawa congratulated those who won, and that we had the next few days off to recover. I looked around for Yaoyorozu so I can talk to her about her battle, but she left early. Maybe time to herself will do her well. I on the other hand had Mom's cooking to look forward to. I can't believe you didn't let me eat, I muttered as Mom parallel parked in front of a gigantic mansion. And spoil your appetite, I don't think so. Your friend was gracious enough to invite us to his mansion. We should be proper guests to their dinner. She scooted. Yes, Mom. I said as I got out of the car and readjusted poorly tied tie. For once it wasn't because I was lazy, it's just that Mom and I never learned how to properly tie a tie. Those internet videos make it look way too easy. Oh, and I had a dark green suit too, courtesy of All Might actually, which was nice of him considering I don't have any proper clothing. Anyway, we walked up to the fancy door and pushed the doorbell, which was somehow even more grand than the door. After a few seconds and the ring died down, the door opened. Oh, you must be the Midoriya family. A woman who looks about the same age as Mom said. Mom then took over. Why yes, and thank you for the invitation. Mom bowed, as did I. She waved us off. Any friends of Tenya are friends of ours. She said, well, come in and remove your shoes. She said. We did as told and walked inside. I tried to not look around the mansion, just a peek. The walls were littered with plaques and picture frames of old newspapers, all of them talking about the successes of the 𝗔𝗫𝗵 family. Some trophies, and other things like picture frames. After that we made it to the dining hall, where Ida, 𝗔𝗫𝗵, the other Ida brothers, Mr. and Mrs. Ida, and Grandma and Grandpa Ida sat. Mom and I took the opposite end of the table. Once we took our seats, the chefs walked in to present dinner for us. I'll never get used to the rich people lifestyle. Anyway, time to see how good the chefs are. 6 out of 10. Izuku. Mom yelled. Did I say that out loud? I asked as Mom nodded. Oh, sorry. I muttered. Mrs. Ida laughed. It's quite alright, Tenya told me that you and your mother are good cooks. I was about to comment, but Mom sent me a look that told me to do otherwise. After that, Mom and the female Idas were talking about random stuff, recipes, and their daily lives. So far so good. No one has mentioned stay, so you were the kid who saved my son. Mom shot me a look. Looks like I have to lie my way out of this. Yeah, you know, the entrance exam. He was about to get ran over by a giant robot, but I saved him. I lied. Sounds believable. But what about the hero key dash? Fush, I sped over and clamped a hand over 𝗔𝗫𝗵's mouth. Let's not mention that. I whispered. Mention what? Mom asked, in a threatening voice that sent shivers down my spine. And nothing. I asked. Oh really? She asked, then let go of his mouth. I have no options. I slowly took my hand off of 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲's mouth and braced for the verbal impact. I was talking about how he saved me from the hero killer. 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 asked. What? Mom asked. I can explain. I said, holding up my hands in defense. Then start explaining. Mom said in an angry tone. There is nothing scarier than your mom angry. I was going to get the cakes in 𝗳𝗧𝗪. I heard 𝗧𝗵𝗲, and I then saw 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲. I decided it would be cool to say hi to him, so I took a detour, and I saw 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 was staring down the hero killer. They saw me. I didn't want 𝗳𝗧𝗪𝗏 to go through the stereotypical revenge plot and ultimately get himself killed. So I ran up and punched him. I explained. You did what? Mom yelled. He didn't die, I think. I muttered. The hero killer survived the punch. Mr. 𝗳𝗧𝗪 said. See, so nothing bad happened. I said, but her face didn't change, and no one knows about it, right? I asked 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲, he didn't nod. I reported it. He said. Did you drop my name? I asked. No, all I said was a green-haired kid stumbled on our fight. I gave him permission to use his quirk to defend himself should it come to that. It came to that and he took the hero killer out in one blow. He was insistent I get the credit. 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 explained. Okay, we're good then. I said. However, why wouldn't you want the credit? Mr. 𝗳𝗧𝗪 asked. Because the media will twist any story they get for their benefit. They're like people who make counterfeits of the Mona Lisa for profit. You won't tell the difference, but it's a scummy practice. I said. You really have a disdain for the press. Classmate 𝗳𝗧𝗪 said. Disdain doesn't cover it. But I'm not trying to become a politician to be prime minister, so it's not my job to reform the press. I said with a shrug, but my job is to do this. I said as I smacked 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 in the back of the head with 5% of my power. Ow! 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗲 whined. That's for not calling for backup like a moron. If I hadn't been there you would have been killed. Then 𝗳𝗧𝗪 would go on a stereotypical revenge adventure, and then he'd probably die too. I yelled before turning to 𝗳𝗧𝗪, and you, where's your heroic instinct? It took me yelling at you for you to go and get help during the USJ attack. I said before walking up to him, granted you're young, and did it anyway, so you get a flick to the forehead. I said as I flicked him in the forehead with 5% as well. Ow! He whined as well, rubbing the flicking spot on his forehead. Man, can't even take 5%, the 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗲 line is doomed at this rate. I sighed. Man, I thought 𝗳𝗧𝗪𝗏 said you were lazy. One of the 𝗳𝗧𝗪 brothers said. I am, but the last thing I want is a death that I could have prevented on my conscience. I said, if yelling at these two idiots will save them then I'll yell at them. I said before sitting back down. Now where's Desert? It's so weird that people recognize us from TV. 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗏 said, everyone wanted to talk to me on my way here. Yeah, me, too. Kirishima exclaimed. People on the street were staring at me. It was kind of embarrassing. Hagakure said. Sure, but isn't that pretty normal for you? Ojiro asked. All it took was one sports festival and suddenly we're like celebrities. Kaminari said. That's why I wore a hood to school. I said as I took it off. Why don't you want the fame? 𝗧𝗪𝗏 asked. The media is such a pain in my back, I'm good. I said. Midoriya, everything is a pain to you. Tsuyu said. Glad you paid attention to that fact. I said as the door opened. Morning. Mr. Aizawa said. Good morning, Mr. Aizawa. Everyone greeted. Oh hey, your face is back to normal. I commented. Quirk glared at me. He then turned off his quirk, anyway. We have a big class today on hero informatics. He said as everyone tensed up. I studied the quirk laws a few years ago, I'm good. You need code names. Mr. Aizawa said, time to pick your hero identities. Everyone stood up. This is gonna be totally awesome. Everyone yelled. Ah! I, while collapsing on my desk, thought and creativity my weaknesses. Mr. Aizawa glared at us to quiet down. Which everyone did. This is related to the pro hero draft picks that I mentioned the last time we were in class together. Normally, students don't have to worry about the draft yet. Not until their second or third year actually, but your class is different. In fact, by extending offers to first years like you, pros are essentially investing in your potential. Any offers can be rescinded if their interest in you dies down before graduation, though. Mr. Aizawa explained. Mineta punched his table. Stupid, selfish adults. So, what you're saying is, we'll still have to prove ourselves after we've gotten recruited. Hagakure said. Correct. Now, here are the total for those of you who got offers. Mr. Aizawa said as he flashed up the numbers on screen. This is awkward. I said as I saw my offer total 5,302. Todoroki got 4,123. Bakugo got 3,556. Tokoyami got 360. Ida got 301. Kaminari got 272. Yaoyorozu got 108. Kirishima got 68 and 𝗧𝗵𝗲 got 14. How did you get 5,302? Everyone yelled. I never asked for this. Now I have to look over my list, and pick 3 and it's all too much work, we know. Everyone, I'm happy they're catching on. Despite these results, you'll all be interning with pros. Got it. Even those of you who didn't get any offers. Mr. Aizawa said. So everyone's interning cool. I mean, it makes sense, we already got to fight some villains, some more than others though. It'll be helpful to see pros at work. Up close and personal, in the field. Firsthand. Mr. Aizawa said. And for that, we need hero names. Sato exclaimed. Things are suddenly getting a lot more fun. Uraraka cheered. These hero names will likely be temporary, but take them seriously or, Mr. Aizawa said before the doors swung open again. You'll have hell to pay later. Midnight said, wearing her hero outfit. 𝗧𝗍, Kaminari, and Mineta stood up upon seeing Midnight. Keep it in your U3, that's weird. I commented, and seriously, do you have any other clothes? I asked. Mineta took offense to that. What, do you not like women? He exclaimed. I turned to glare at him, which caused him to shrink down. It's called thinking within my age group. She's 31 I'm 23. Midnight exclaimed. The point still stands. I yelled. Anyway. Mr. Aizawa yelled, which silenced all 5 of us. Midnight will have final approval over your names. It's not my forte. He said as he got into his sleeping bag, the name you give yourself is important. It helps reinforce your image and shows what kind of hero you want to be in the future. A codename tells people exactly what you represent. Take All Might, for example. Mr. Aizawa said as Bakugo handed me some boards. Time to figure out my hero name. Well, I hate thinking, so I should get someone else to do it for me. Mom, it is. I am. Hey Mom, I need help. Mom, are you texting in class? I am. Semantics. I need a hero name. Mom, can't you figure it out yourself? I am. It's because I love you and I know how much you wanted to come up with my hero name. Mom, nice try, besides you should figure this out yourself. I am. Fine, and I'm cooking dinner tonight, you work too strong. Midoriya. Would you like to share your texts to the class? Midnight asked. Sure. I said as Ashido shot up. Hey Mom, I need help. Are you texting in class? Semantics. I need a hero name. Can't you figure it out yourself? It's because I love you and I know how much you wanted to come up with my hero name. Nice try, besides you should figure this out yourself. Fine, and I'm cooking dinner tonight, you work too strong. I read out loud, sorry for being a decent son. I said before putting my phone in my pocket. Then I felt a buzz. Mom, how about the hopeful hero aspirations? I have nothing better to write. Now, students, who among you is ready to share? Midnight asked. As all the others were mumbling to themselves, I walked up. Mr. Aizawa has the right idea, I could use a nap. I stood in front of the class and presented my board, the hopeful hero aspirations. I said. That doesn't sound like you. Midnight said. I'm just good at suppressing emotions and my mom gave me the name, so I'm sticking with it. I said as I headed back to my seat and closed my eyes. I shot awake and grabbed the thing on my face. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 with a marker. First the cake, now my face. I asked, as I pulled the marker out and crushed it with one hand, you're really making an enemy you shouldn't be making. I am sorry, 𝗳𝗍𝗍 dared me. He yelled. What? I didn't. 𝗧𝗍𝗍 yelled. As far as I know, both of you are now under suspicion. I said, and if I feel another marker touch my face, someone will be eliminated from 1A, and ☪ will be given a free pass into 1A, I said before turning away from the class and going back to sleep. The bell rang and I felt no markers. Good, no one dies today. Now, we have until the weekend until we have to pick 𝗳𝗊. I have to look through my massive stack. Well, might as well skim through it. Endeavor not on my life. Empty lady, that means I'll have a week with my neta pass. Camille Woods. He's an interested. Oh, best jeanist, my mom's a big fan, top pick. I'll ask for his autograph to make her happy. Alright, I'm good. I said as I dumped the other papers over the edge. Was that necessary, Midoriya? Ida yelled. Was yelling when you're an inch away from me necessary? I asked back, and yes, it was fun. I said with a smile before picking up my 15 pieces of paper. Okay, maybe doing that wasn't a good idea. Who did you pick? Uraraka asked. Don't feel like telling. I said as I picked up my stuff. I have somewhere to be anyway. I stood in front of the iron doors of the support department. Time for some upgrades. I knocked on the door and braced for the impending explosion. Like I expected, the doors blew off the hinges. Luckily I caught it before it killed me. Nice catch, Midoriya. Power Loader said before yelling at 𝗵𝗃, so what are you here for? Heavier weights. I said as I tossed the door aside to pull off my weights to toss one up and down like a softball. These aren't giving me much progress anymore. 𝗵𝗃 then rushed towards me. Luckily I've made variants that now weigh 500 kilograms each. So double sounds cool. I said, and thank good I asked my mom if we could move to the ground floor a few weeks ago. 2 tons. I feel like how I was a few weeks before the sports festival, trudging my body down the halls and walking to my home. Yeah, I think the trains won't be able to withstand 2 tons of weight. So walking it is. After a whole hour of trudging my body at 100% glass cannon, and 13% one for all, me going at 10% is taking forever. So I decided to kick it up a few notches to see if I can go farther and speed up this process, and I can still took forever though. Hey mom. I muttered as I trudged myself into the house. Izuku. What's wrong? Mom asked. Weights double 2 tons. I said as I walked in front of her. She sighed and rolled her eyes. That's why you haven't gotten another bed frame yet. She commented before heading back into the kitchen. Wait a minute. Hey, what happened to me making dinner? A week of me trying to adjust to the 2-ton weight on my arms and legs, and a week of waiting for internships has come and gone. Yaoyorozu still looks off, though. She said she was interning at 𝗬𝗵𝗲's office. Great showboaty Medusa, I bet you 1 billion yen 𝗬𝗵𝗲 wants her just for her looks. Well, too late to change that, but still that'll hurt her pride a whole heck of a lot more knowing a pro only wanted her for her looks. Maybe I should visit sometime during internships. No, that would distract her from her work. Besides, I have a train to write, can't because weights. Son of a blue onion. I pushed open the door and trudged in. Getting the 2 tons was a horrible idea. You're late. My mentor 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗧𝗔𝗨 said as I slowly moved my way next to 𝗵𝘃𝗲. Seems he had picked the same mentor. Sorry, things happened, I said as I looked at him. No matter, he said before turning away from us. To be perfectly frank, I don't like you too. Man, going in from the start, I muttered. I know full well why you two chose my hero agency. 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗧𝗔𝗨 said, because I'm one of the top 5 most popular heroes. Actually, that's not true for me, I said. Oh. And why did you choose my agency, 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗏? 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗧𝗔𝗨 asked. Well, to be completely honest, I said as I pulled out a book and a marker, my mom is a big fan of yours and it would make her life to give her an autograph. I said. That's the whole reason why you chose my agency? 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗧𝗏 asked. Yeah, I asked. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 scoffed and stepped forward. Hey, look, you're the one who made an offer for me, he said. Yes. Recently, all my recruits have been perfect little angels, so you two certainly stood out, he said. You two certainly have outstanding talent. I'd say you two are already good enough to take on as sidekicks. However, you two have fatal flaws, he said before pointing at 𝗵𝘃𝗲. You believe you're the best and you display that belief without regard for how it reflects on you or your image. You have a ferocious nature. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 looked. Dang, he told you. As for you, he said before looking at me, you have talent and power, but you look like you would rather be somewhere else than at the sports festival, so much so that you sped through the first part just to get some cake at the shop. But at Dash, I know about what you did in Hosu, with the hero killer, he said. So you read 𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗧𝗏's report, didn't you? I asked. Just the basics. How some kid jumped off the roof and knocked out the hero killer in one punch. Impressive, but foolish, he said. Okay, now I'm mad. Foolish dash, I said before I felt my arms and legs get tighter. It's his quirk. I turned to see 𝗵𝘃𝗲 is also tied up as well. I have to correct people like you too. It's part of my duty to society. Heroes and villains are cut from the same cloth. So your job here is to watch me. I'll show you two what makes someone a hero, 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗧𝗏 said. What in the hell are you doing? 𝗵𝘃𝗲 asked. Isn't it obvious? I'm educating you on becoming an exemplary pro. That includes being aware of the way you speak, your appearance, controlling your emotions, your morals, your attitudes, everything. There are countless things you need to learn, but in the brief PRD of 1 week, I will stitch these things into the fabric of your being. Are you done yet? I asked. You'll need a lot of work, but yes, I have finished my initial speed dash. Snap, I broke out of the threads. Good, I was wondering when you were gonna finish. How did you? One of the sidekicks asked. I could have done that a long time ago, but I decided to let you run out of steam. So what now? I asked while ripping 𝗵𝘃𝗲's bonds. He held out a comb and a pair of scissors. Oh hell no. Nerd, let them cut your hair. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 yelled as I was holding off 5 other sidekicks. He clearly wasn't happy to do this either, but he had nothing to lose. Never. I'd rather die, I yelled as I punched one guy in the stomach and tossed another out the window. You will commit murder before that point, 𝗵𝘃𝗲 yelled. Good, they should reap what they've sown, I said before grabbing the scissors off the ground and snapped them in half. That's the 13th one, how many more you got? None left, 𝗵𝘃𝗁𝗧𝗏 said. Good, I said as I picked up my weights and put them back on. Now I'd appreciate a simple ponytail. You were willing to do your hair? The sidekicks, excluding the one I threw out the window, exclaimed. Yeah, just cutting it was off limits, I said as I sat down on the chair, but if I even sense a pair of scissors I will level this whole building. I was dead serious, and so were they. My hairstyling thing lasted about 2 to 3 minutes, as for 𝗵𝘃𝗲 has lasted about an hour due to his hair being strong to control. After that hour we went on patrol, all the while he was talking about the fundamentals of being a hero, about the job, paperwork, and once again our image. It was pretty boring, but necessary. After that 2-hour patrol, we returned to his office to turn it in for the night. It was 𝗵𝘃𝗲 and I sitting in the sidekick common room. Guess I should say something. So why did you choose best genus agency? He growled. My mom wanted an autograph, weren't you paying attention? I asked. I'm serious. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 said. So am I said, in case you forgot I had many options. If I wanted to get experience on the field I could have gone to Endeavor's agency. If I wanted to take it easy I could have gone to 𝗵𝘃𝗍𝗍's agency. But mom liked best genus the most, so I came here. He huffed, though seemed satisfied with that answer. But I can tell he had another question, might as well play along. Got another question. Yeah, he muttered, why haven't you used your power? During junior high, or any time really? 𝗵𝘃𝗲 asked, you could have stopped me from using my quirk on you so many times. Showing off isn't my style. I said, having people clamber at your heels about your power, having friends who want to be around you in case you become a high-tier hero so you can vouch for them, this whole spotlight thing is more trouble than it's worth. I explained, heck, holding grudges is, I said before pointing to 𝗵𝘃𝗲. Too much work. He recited. Exactly. I said with a pair of claps, besides, you're not like that same but from junior high, you're like 2 levels above him. You're still an but a tolerable but. Hey, he growled. But you're improving. Must be the realization that there will almost always be someone better than you. I said before tapping his forehead, so don't get cocky, and don't be overly flashy. Instead hone your craft so you can live up to be someone's better. He scoffed, there is no one better than me. He said. Oh yeah. I'm walking in your speed with 2 tons of weight added onto me. I said. Unfair. He muttered. No it isn't. I said, I go down in like 5 strong hits. I just account for that by improving my speed and strength. So you should get to training. I said before I laid on my futon, well, that's enough speeches for one day. 𝗵𝘃𝗲 didn't say anything, but laid in his futon facing away from me. Here's hoping that would help him, might as well since I'm on a helping streak.